What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. Today, the Portland Trail Blazers get a win. A win that they badly needed against the bottom-feeding New Orleans Pelicans. 123 to 115 is your final score. The Blazers had a bit of an interesting game. You had a fight or a fracas or a scrum or whatever you want to call it between Jeremy Grant and Yves Missy that got both of those players ejected. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's fun to talk about a little bit of a scuffle. We're also going to talk about two Portland Trail Blazers that have had a couple of great games. One Blazer's been doing it all season long, and one Blazer was struggling all season long and might be finally turning a corner. Those players, of course, Denny Avdia and Shaedon Sharpe leading the way, 35 and 32 points from them. And they stave off a New Orleans comeback as the Blazers, at one point, led by as much as 15 points against these Pelicans. The Pelicans came back, made it a close game there down the stretch. Worried me a little bit because this was a game the Portland Trail Blazers needed. But clutch buckets down the stretch from Shaedon Sharpe and Denny Avdia take care of this game. And now the Blazers are back above 500 and can move on and look ahead to their next NBA Cup game on Friday against the Houston Rockets. Eric, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good now that the Blazers finally got back in the win column. But man, 67 points combined on 36 shots. That's pretty good, huh?
Say that again, the stat.
67 points combined between Avdia and Sharp, and
36 shots.
36 shots.
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
That'll get it done.
Yeah, Denny 12 for 18, Sharp 13 for 18. So nice to see both those guys be efficient. And the whole starting lineup was efficient. Tamani was 50% from the field, 50% from three. Drew was 6 for 12, 3 for 7 from three. The starting lineup was really solid in this game. Sharp plus 20, Denny plus 16, Klingham plus 12, Tamani plus 8. It's just tough, this bench with as many players that are injured, as well as missing Jeremy Grant in this one after that situation. Really good that they were able to take care of this game. They were 8.5-point favorites, so this was right on the spread line, but would have been nice if they could have gotten a blowout win. I said it recently. I just want a blowout win where we can relax down the stretch, and it looked like this game was going to be just that until the Blazers started screwing around, and the Pelicans fought back. Credit to them, I guess. But this is a 2-9 Pelicans team, so this was a game they had to win. They took care of business.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you think of that Grant ejection?
Yeah, let's start with that. Let's start with complaining about the refs in a game we won, because that's what I'm about to do.
I'm just that's what why
that's
he
what
got
I'm about to
ejected.
do. Well,
Why?
is it complaining about the refs or complaining about Secaucus? Because isn't it Secaucus that makes those final calls now? I don't know. Gonna be complaining about the league regardless. So in case you missed it, Yves Missy and Jeremy Grant got tied up going for a board underneath the rim, and Grant shoved him a little bit, and then
Yves kind of pulled his arm.
Yeah, they were pulling. He's pulling his arm, like, it happens. Grant kind of shoved him, and then Yves Missy tried to like put his hands around his throat, a la Draymond Green against Rudy Gobert, although more of a chokehold instead of wrapping him up from behind. So I understood Yves Missy getting ejected for trying to choke an opposing player. I didn't really understand Jeremy Grant getting ejected for just shoving a player, because normally that's not enough to get you ejected, but that just felt like we have to eject one guy, so to be fair, we're also going to eject the other guy no matter what, which is just kind of dumb. And then you have a Pelicans player run off the bench into the scuffle, Eric, and Karlo Matkovic, and he doesn't get ejected. That's supposed to be an automatic ejection, according to their own rules. So here we go with the NBA just being incompetent again. I thought the Grant ejection was a little bit ridiculous, but at least that's more of like a judgment. Karlo Matkovic literally ran off the bench and did not get ejected, which I thought was completely ridiculous.
Since when can they use their judgment if a player coming off the bench is there for good or bad purposes?
I know.
It's not, the rule is clear. You cannot leave the bench for any reason in that circumstance if there's an altercation. It doesn't matter if you're a peacekeeper or not. It's supposed to be an automatic ejection. I'll probably get suspended a game, so that's fine. But I don't get the refs coming out at halftime and explaining that he just came to be a peacemaker. He wasn't trying to escalate anything. How do you know what his intentions were running off the bench?
I mean, CJ McCollum in a preseason game took 2 steps off the bench and then walked right back to the bench, didn't do anything, and got suspended for a regular season game before. Right? Shout out to you if you remember that. So we know that rule. We know that rule because it's been burned into the back of my mind since CJ McCollum got suspended for that game, which was wild. So don't really understand the NBA's enforcement of their rule book, but I never have, and there's just another thing to add to the list that I don't understand. But I think it made it tougher for Portland. I think Grant's more valuable to the Blazers right now than Yves Missy is to the Pelicans, especially considering Derek Queen was playing amazing basketball today. Derek Queen got all those minutes. Derek Queen was a better option for them today. So if anything, you could make the argument that losing Yves Missy helped the Pelicans because they got a heavier diet. They gave us a heavier diet of Derek Queen, and he was cooking today. Which, good for the Pelicans fans. They don't have their first-round pick this year. It's unprotected to the Atlanta Hawks. They traded away that pick to get Derek Queen. So I guess it's nice, considering they're 2-9, for them to have a game where Derek Queen goes off because they basically selected Derek Queen over a top 5 player in this draft. And oh my goodness, is this draft going to be maybe generational in terms of the talent throughout the lottery, man. It's going to be wild.
The freshman class is putting up historic numbers. Like, it's crazy. Every game I watch with a freshman in it, they're doing amazing things.
Did you watch Gonzaga yesterday?
Yes.
Did you see Mario?
Yep.
That's he's like so under the radar compared to all these other freshmen, but that was my first time.
Well, how old is he?
He's like 19. He's a freshman.
I thought he was like an older freshman.
Let me look. But yeah, that was my first time watching him for a whole game. Like, I'd seen little clips here and there. Oh my goodness, he looks fun. I'm excited. So yeah, I don't
know about him, but I know there's a lot of international guys that are like 21, 22 getting as listed as freshmen. But
he's 19. He turns 20 in April.
Nice.
Yeah, turns 20 in April. So he's going to be on second round draft boards, I think. I think he'll take over the starting point guard spot there. But Gonzaga's back. It's fun watching Tyon Grant Foster play in a Gonzaga uniform, even though he didn't play well last night. Anyway, we're not into draft season yet, but we will have a big board soon. We'll do one of those here in November.
I don't get. I mean, yes, call a flagrant foul or a double foul or like a technical foul, whatever. I don't get what Grant did to get ejected out of the game. He got a hand up on his neck and in his face, and he didn't really respond to that. So, in my opinion, that wasn't ejection worthy. But
yeah,
for some reason, it led to Thiago needing to play City Sissoko, Chris Murray, and Ryan Rupert at the same time in this game for long stretches. That was fun with Rob Will.
And we survived it.
It was pretty brutal in the first half when he went with that lineup. They did a lot better in the second half, I guess. But just the mindset of putting that lineup on the floor is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like mix and match a little bit more, man. That's crazy. It's weird that lineup just reminded me of the tanking Blazers at the end of seasons. But here we are, 5-5 in a very important game for us to not lose. And yeah, they didn't lose. It's just kind of crazy how depleted things are when Jeremy Grant gets ejected, and you got a bunch of guys playing that in a normal situation with the healthy roster wouldn't be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to win this game, but also they're depleted. We became depleted. It was a good win despite them almost choking. Now, if they choked this game, I probably would be melting down because they needed to beat this Pelicans team. This Pelicans team is awful. This Pelicans team is missing Zion Williamson. So this was a game that they absolutely needed. They didn't have Jordan Poole either. So this was a game the Blazers absolutely needed no matter the circumstance. I wasn't going to sit here and make excuses for them if they lost. Like, oh, Jeremy Grant got ejected and they had to play Chris Murray and Ryan Repair and City Sissoko minutes, because at the end of the day, they had the best two players on the floor. They had the best two players on the floor in Shaedon Sharpe and Denny Avdia. And down the stretch, those two guys played like the best two players on the floor and took care of business. That's what you want to see against a bottom-feeding team, with Sharpe turning a corner and Denny coming into his own as a star. If I could choose two guys to just put away a game down the stretch, it would be those two guys. Now, maybe it'd be fun to see Chris Murray score 35 points just to see what the hell that would look like. But it's good to see your top guys step up against a team filled with inferior players, at least offensively, and step up and take over a game after you're doing your best to choke it, right? New Orleans had a ton of momentum there in the fourth quarter. The Blazers were up 15, and then they cut the lead to what? What was the closest that New Orleans got it, if you remember? Like,
I know it was 5. I don't know if they got closer to 5. They had the ball down 5, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever got it closer than that. They might have got it to 3 at one point, but
yeah, I was thinking 3
I remember
or 5.
it being 5. Yeah.
It was really good to see Sharpe and Denny stave off that comeback and just assert their will at the end of a game. If Dame did that, prime Dame, it's like, oh, that's what Dame does, you know what I mean? But Denny's coming into his own as an all-star, so to see him have these stretches in crunch time is really fun. He had a great stretch of crunch time against the Magic, hitting 2 threes, including one that should have been an and one. And the Blazers managed to lose that game, choke that game. But to see that and to see it from Sharpe as well, who had been struggling all season long and now has back-to-back good games, was a really good sign no matter who the opponent was.
Yeah, it was funny. Haberstroh talked about Sharpe only having 3 crunch time points in the entire season, and then he proceeded to score the next 6 points and put this game away. So that was nice to see.
Yep. Here are the team stats from today. The Blazers shoot 58% from the field. That's a great number. 58% from the field, 35% from 3, 94% from the free throw line. So just super efficient inside the arc and from the free throw line, and we'll take 35% from 3 for this team. Pelicans made the same amount of threes, but shot worse from the field, 47%. Got more offensive rebounds. They had more misses. The turnover thing. The Blazers were an elite team at forcing turnovers at the start of the year, and I said I don't think that's sustainable, and I was a little worried about their defense behind that. In a game like this, the defense was, you held them to 115 points and you only forced 10 turnovers on the surface. Yeah, that's good, but given their talent on the floor, I don't think this was a particularly good defensive game. I'm still a little disappointed with the defense, especially out of a couple guys, and we'll talk about a couple plays here in a bit, because there is a couple critiques I have for Shaedon Sharpe defensively today. But, offensively, he had a great game. So you win this game. I'm still not pleased with the defense, but it was nice that they didn't let him score more than 115, considering they weren't forcing a ton of turnovers. I think they're kind of stuck in between how much do we want to pressure and how much do we want to gamble for turnovers to try and force turnovers, because there was a few moments today. There was a few defensive possessions where they gave up wide open shots because they were trying to force turnovers, and like Drew Holiday's not guarding anybody. He's trying to chase the ball and everybody's confused. And there was some rough defensive possessions due to the aggressiveness from this team. But after sending the Magic to the line a bunch last game, only 21 free throws, you'll take that. So the Blazers send opposing teams to the line a ton. That's something they've struggled with this year. So 17 fast break points as well. That's a okay number, especially considering there was only 10 turnovers forced. So those are some of the team stats.
Yeah, and I have to think that I was thinking about this during this season, during the game tonight. The defensive rebounding issue, I think it also is coming into play with the overpressuring on the perimeter and in the backcourt. It's leading to a lot of players not getting boxed out either, because they're running downhill towards the basket a lot without someone there to get a body on them. And they gave up 15 offensive rebounds tonight. I think they had quite a bit of an advantage in terms of second chance points. I know that's not on here, but I want to say they had over 20 second chance points tonight. So that was a huge reason they stayed in this game, was our inability to defensive rebound at times. And I think that's also a byproduct of the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a running theme this season, just how much they're pressuring. We've talked about it a lot. Overall, though, outside of you let Derek Queen get too many easy buckets, I think there was just quite a few defensive breakdowns in this game. Phoenix just held this team to like 90 points. I forget what the final score of that game was, but Phoenix just held this team to a brutal offensive night. So it would have been nice to not give up 115 points. We're going to have conversations about where the defense is at, because my hope was they would be borderline top 5. They just don't really look like that right now, to be honest. And the offense is still like borderline bottom 10. But you're 6-5. You got to win. You're figuring out ways to win. Hopefully Scoot Henderson returns soon. Hopefully they address a shooting need. Having Matisse Thybulle would help with the forcing turnover stuff right now. So it's kind of a mixed bag, and this was a mixed bag type of game where you had a couple of players play great. You had the starting lineup play pretty well. You had some defensive struggles. So yeah, we'll focus on all of it, but we'll definitely start with the good, and we'll start with the Denny, Shea. Those guys were phenomenal.
Yeah, man. Denny, I saw some people saying, "Oh wow, his quiet 25 at one point from him," but he actually started off this game really well. Hit several threes at the beginning of this game. So if you forgot about the beginning of the game, it might have seemed quiet, but he actually got our offense going in that first quarter when I felt like we came out really sloppy and really slow again. And, it had been better the last few games. Like we hadn't been getting off to such a poor start. Mm-hmm. And New Orleans didn't really play well at the beginning either. And that's been kind of a theme too. When we don't play well, sometimes the other team isn't playing awesome either. So it doesn't really hurt us. But I do feel like they need to find a way to, if they're going to play this kind of up-tempo pressure style, they need to find a way to have it affect the beginning of the games a little more. But Denny starts hitting some shots and got the offense going. And then Sharp in that second quarter really took off. And it's been now 2 weeks that Sharp is going into this game. He was leading all guards in field goal percentage in the restricted area at 77% the last 2 weeks. And that number with an 11 for 11 performance inside the arc is definitely going to go up. And Denny 8 for 10 inside the arc. So the two of them combining for 19 of 31 or 19 of 21, even better, 19 to 21 from inside the arc. That's really awesome. And I felt like they were both at times when they needed to, taking the ball to the rack. There were a couple times where they got Queen switched on them that I felt like they settled for kind of bad three-point shots. Shaden took a couple bad three-point shots still, despite everything else. But overall, can't really nitpick either of their games tonight. And I just want to point out, Denny, 0 turnovers. That's it, my dude. Thank you.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Would you rather have 0 turnovers with
I mean, he barely did
2
anything
assists,
else. Yeah.
Or would you rather have 4 turnovers with
only
8
one
assists?
rebound too? But I mean, I'll take it because he was aggressive scoring the ball, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like he wasn't taking it inside or whatever. One of his assists was a nice lob dunk. So I do like that he shot a lot more and was taking care of the ball. Now Drew Holiday, had three turnovers too. I felt like all 3 were really bad turnovers, but he has 12 assists, so it doesn't really matter. Still 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So, but yeah, Shea and Denny, man, they were everything tonight, and man, if we have both of them cooking, we're going to be pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, they don't have rim protection, especially without Eves Missy. So once Eves Missy was out the game plan I think became clear. It was just attack them, live inside the arc. Derek Queen is not a good defender. Those threes were a bit frustrating. There was multiple guys that shot threes with Derek Queen switched out onto him. Tamani shot one, and it was just like, okay, he's giving those up, but he's very slow laterally, and he's a rookie. So if you just attack him, you're probably going to be able to get by him. And who do they have behind him? You know, they don't have much rim protection. I do think the Blazers were best served when they attacked, and the stats absolutely back that up. They shot 57, almost 58% from the field and 35% from three. So they were, 35 for 46 inside the arc? That's an insane number. 35 for 46 is like 77%, I'm guessing. Like just mental math. Let me check let me do the calculator. I want to see how close my mental math was. 35 divided by 46 is 76%. My mental math is goated, by the way.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So 76% inside the arc for Portland. When they drove the ball, they had great results. Paints to the point,
Except
64 points. Wow. Even Tamani with Queen switched out on him. Like, if he drives and the result isn't good, like, I still like that decision more than maybe shooting a three, but he was 3 for 6 from three. But basically, the bigger point is, especially against bad teams that don't have rim protection, the Blazers need to not get caught up in chucking a bunch of threes. And it felt like in the first half, this game was close because the Blazers were shooting a lot of threes. And I don't know the differential between the first and second half in terms of their three-point attempts, but it felt like there was more of an emphasis to attack in the second half. So I don't know if that was a halftime adjustment or not, but it seemed like this team was playing a little bit more downhill, trying to take advantage of the fact that the Pelicans were playing, they started Kevon Looney, they only played him 8 minutes. They were playing a bunch of Derek Queen, who's not a good defender. It was easy pickings on the interior, and I felt like when the Blazers built that run, they hit some threes during that run, but I think this team is at its best when it plays downhill and doesn't settle for threes. So, I think far too often there's too many clinging threes, and Tamani's having a rough game, but he'll shoot a bunch. He had that 3 for 13 from three game recently. Sharp has had games where he's shot a bunch when those aren't falling. Luckily, that's changed the past couple of games. I do feel like this team gets a little bit too three-point happy because when they drive and attack consistently, I think the results are a little bit better, and I think they get better threes on these kick-out passes. So, in a game like this especially, that was an area of emphasis. And coming up against the Rockets have a really good defense, but if there's anywhere where they're weak, it's maybe at the center spot defensively with Alperen Şengün, who's not the best defender, not the best rim protector. So against a team that plays really good defense, that can defend the perimeter well, the Blazers, if they can find a way to get into the paint next game like they did this game, then they should have a chance to be competitive with the Rockets.
Yeah, that's the hope. There was a point in the first half where I think they made 5 of 6 3-point shots. So if you take that point out, they just did not shoot well from three in this game. And I think Drew at one point hit a couple in a row, but short of that and that Denny one you talked about towards the end, but they're not consistently hitting threes well enough to just shoot as many as they've been shooting. And this game, I think, is a clear indicator of what they can do when they attack the rim more. And both Sharp and Denny were just awesome in terms of getting to the rim and finishing and using their bodies well to get really good shots off. And if they continue to do that, man, this offense could take that other leap, because that's when those 3-point shots will be open. And I know we don't really have the shooters, but if teams have to start really, I mean, they already are packing the paint, but if they have to just sag off of those guys even more, and they can get going, take a few dribbles before they even get to the defender. That's going to really open up this offense, I think. And then if we can just get anyone to start hitting open threes, we already have like pretty much. I forgot what the stat was, but we're near the top of most like wide open 3-point shots. And so,
but we're near the bottom. But we're near the bottom of the league in terms of percentage on those shots.
Right,
that's the problem. Yeah,
and that's when people say, "Oh, well, they shot 40% this game. Like if they do that, it's a make or miss league. If they do that, but it's like you're shooting 40% on wide open threes. It's not the same as like the Warriors shooting 40% on a bunch of contested shots that open up the middle for their other players. So like we do have to worry about like how open these threes are compared to the rest of the league. If they're not shooting an above average percentage on them, it's probably not a good shot. So that's why I really like tonight that they didn't settle or just continue chucking threes when it wasn't working as well. They made a point to get to the hoop and I mean, even like Chris Murray had a few buckets at the rim, including a nice dunk.
To piggyback off your point about the 3-point shot percentages, tendencies, the Blazers have the 25th best 3-point percentage. So they're one of the worst shooting teams in the league, despite having some of the highest percentage of open threes. So they get a lot of open threes, and they're still one of the worst shooting teams in the league. And they shoot the 8th highest frequency of threes. So they're the 25th best 3-point shooting team. They shoot the 8th highest frequency of threes. And those stats just back up what we've been talking about all season long with this team being maybe a little bit too 3-point happy. But if you're getting open threes, you're getting open threes. You just need guys that can knock them down. So I think the percentage of open threes, there's a couple things that go into that. One of them is the Blazers have some guys that can drive and make nice kick-out passes. I think Shea, even at times, his playmaking's been rough this year for others, but he's had a couple nice kick-out passes. Denny as well, living in the paint, right? He's going to collapse defenses. Drew Holiday's been collapsing defenses. Scoot, when he's back, will be collapsing defenses. So I think there's two things that go into the Blazers getting a lot of open threes. One is they have guys that can drive and kick, and they run a drive and kick offense that's designed to collapse defenses. The other part of that is the Blazers have too many guys that you don't really have to respect behind the three-point arc. I mean, every Donovan Clingan three is a wide-open three. What's he shooting on the season? Like 20%. But he's still getting three up in a game like this. So I think moving forward, it's just like, man, you get all those open threes and you're shooting a lot of them. It would be nice to have shooters that could help the Blazers be an average three-point shooting team. Their offense would probably be above average if they could just be an average three-point shooting team. So with the amount of threes they shoot, they do get some good looks, but from some guys that aren't good shooters. Chris Murray will never be a shooter. City Sissoko's not a shooter. Clingan's not a shooter. Hopefully he will be one day, but he's struggling from there. Sharp, his percentage, has been better the past couple of games, but he was 31% last year and has been below 30% this year. And those guys are shooting a lot of attempts, There's just a lot of guys that are shooting threes at a below 30% clip. So it's something to improve moving forward. And you look at a game like this, you look at the box score, Denny's 4 for 8, Tamani's 3 for 6, and Drew's 3 for 7. Outside of those guys, it's slim, Sharp was 2 for 7. Clingan 0 for 4. Chris Murray 0 for 1. Duop 1 for 2. I mean, that's what he does. City Sissoko's 0 for 1. Ryan Ruper's 0 for 1. You don't have that guy. Still don't have that guy that could just come in and knock down 3 or 4 threes and change a game that way. So it would be interesting to see the dynamic of a team that, in a game like this, can live in the paint the way the Blazers did, as well as have a shooter or two out there that could make defenses pay for collapsing, because then they just become much harder to guard. The Blazers did a great job playing to their advantage in this game. I got the final score wrong in both the graphics. I completely missed the final score here. But it's situational awareness. You want to play to your strengths and play to the opponent's disadvantage. The Pelicans aren't a good rim protecting team, so play downhill at them. I thought they did a better job of that in the second half.
Yeah, the Blazers got a cheap bucket at the end of the shot clock when they were running out the clock, and then the Pelicans scored too.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I thought so there was that really nice play where Sharp drives that one where I forgot was it Herb's ankles he broke and burst right by him.
That was the sharpest move I've ever seen him make, I think.
Yeah, I know. It was so good. And then he kicks out, I think it was to Denny, and then it was like bang, bang, pass, two passes to the other side of the court for a Tamani three, I believe. And threes like that are perfect. Like that's like beautiful basketball. You're moving the ball around, everyone touches it, you shoot a wide open one in the flow of an offense. So those threes are totally acceptable. It's just some of the ones they shoot where it's like a guy in your face, or you're on a semi-fast break and you're pulling up and stuff like that. I think if they just eliminate those ones and even the guys, it's always frustrating though when someone makes a nice kick out pass and they're like, oh crap, that's Chris Murray or City Sudoku. Sissoko, and it's not going in. Yeah. So that's the frustrating part. Like, because I see it in the chat, like, why aren't these guys playmaking a little more instead of scoring so much? And I really think it's some of the times. Now, the starting lineup, I think, is fine. If Grant's in the game with any of the starters, I think most of those guys, I believe you feel confident kicking out too. And, they're not going to hit every shot, but, that's probably the best scenario in terms of three-point shooting is with our starting lineup or as with Grant in there with four of the starters. But other than that, I mean, at this point, with how well Denny and Sharp are shooting around the rim, I'd much rather them just go up for a shot than kick out to a three. If it's not to like Drew or Grant or someone like that.
Yep, agreed. We got Tiago Splitter. The Blazers are actually live streaming their media availability, which works out for us nicely, actually. So we're going to queue up Tiago here. I'll start from the. Oh, it said they were live. I don't see them live anymore. Oh yeah, they are. They're right there. No. That's so weird. It's like it's as a video, but it's a premiere. Okay. Strange. All right. So I'll start this from the beginning. We'll listen to Tiago speak on this game, and then we'll, of course, react to what he has to say.
I'll be right back. I'm going to listen to it on my phone while I go and put my kid to bed.
Now I'm going to go do something else. This is nice, This is what we can do. All right. Here's Tiago.
Yeah, I think, our first half wasn't the way we wanted. And then we just started third quarter way better, aggressive on defense, stealing balls and running, playing the way we want to play. And after that, it was basically just maintain a little bit, what we were doing and what was working. And, going through Shea and Denny, they just have a hell of a game. So basically, that was the game there.
There were a few times, especially in the second half, where they went on runs. You could have called a timeout, you didn't. Does that show the trust you have in the group?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you call a timeout, it's also like, stopping the game, and I want to just take the ball out and just run back at them. It's part of our philosophy. The guys know this. So even if they score, we just take it out quick and go. Doesn't matter what happened on defense. But of course, there's moments where I see them a little low energy or tired or their heads down, so that's the time to call timeout.
When Shaden performs the way he has the last two games, is there a way to describe what that gives you guys and how it changes what you're capable of?
I think Shaden is one of the keys for us to be a successful team. He's such a he can create shots. He can get to the rim. He can pull up. He can score from mid-range, rim, three. So, tonight he was unbelievable, and he wasn't feeling 100% either.
I know you weren't with him last year. It was your first year here, but does it seem like his shot selection has kind of changed at all from where it was a couple of years ago, from what you were able to see before he got here?
I don't know. I can't answer you that. But I remember maybe 2 years ago when I coached against him. Just his ability to get to the rim and create a shot is exactly what I'm seeing now. But his summer was very good. Like the way he worked every day, he brought it. Very professional and just trying to get better every day.
When you say he wasn't 100%, is he like battling cold or still his calf? Weak calf?
I mean, I don't know what is it, but I felt like he wasn't 100%. So that's why I had to take him out, in and out, just to give him, some rest there.
What was your perspective on the mini altercation there, and how do you felt like your team responded to that?
I didn't see the film yet. I mean, it's part of the game. Sometimes it happens. I mean, we didn't do anything wrong, to be honest, I think. I mean, they told that Jeremy grabbed some of their player in the neck, and that's an ejection. But I think we are a team that we're not going to back up from anything. I'm not mad at that. I just thought that Jeremy could be a little bit smarter.
Could use his legs in the second half.
He owed us a dinner for that.
What was the impact of, obviously you guys ended up winning the game, what was the impact of losing him for the rest of the game?
Well, then everybody else got to play more minutes, right? Like Drew, Tumani, Danny. You got to bring guys, CD, Chris. They all got to play a little bit more. So it's just a different game for us. And then Jeremy can create so much on offense, and we missed that a little bit. But luckily, Shaden and Danny were very good, and Drew is sometimes too with some important shots.
You mentioned Chris Marino. Sure. We know that he comes in, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but tonight there's a little extra tenacity from Chris Marino. Almost smiled after his dunk, but what do you think of his contributions?
Well, I think he always bring it defensively. Of course, on offense, he doesn't have the ball as much. We have him more as a cutter or offensive rebounder, but he always bring it defensively. And it doesn't matter if he's having an off day offensively or not. He just bring it, and I love the energy. He long arms. He's guarding ball handlers. He's guarding bigs. He's boxing out. He brings those things that people don't watch much, and do that dirty work.
All right, so that was Tiago Splitter talking about the win. And that was Torrey Jones talking about Tiago Splitter talking about the win. Anyway, thoughts on anything he said? That didn't really happen.
So they mentioned this on the Blazer broadcast that Brooke asked him about the minutes thing with Sharp, and he said that he was on a minutes restriction of like 28 to 29 minutes still.
He's been coaching like it, yeah.
But it's weird just hearing him say, well, I didn't feel like he was 100%, so I just took him out more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's good if he's like saving him to be on leash later, but at some point I want to see Shea just like stay in the game when he's completely cooking, and hopefully soon that'll happen.
Yeah, so he's been playing much better. He's only played. Let me pull up the box score again. He's still only played 30 minutes in this game. So it's like I saw a lot of people saying, "See, the calf was bothering him." If he only plays 30 minutes a game where he's playing this well, is the calf completely healed, or is it still bothering him? You know what I mean? And I think we need to have the conversation like, okay, what's limited by his calf issue and what's not limited? or what should be better despite his calf issue. Because I think there's some things that you can definitely chalk up to he's not 100%. And there's some things that I think are very valid to criticize him for, even if he has a calf that's not 100%. So I think what it would affect the most is lift on jumping, like anything jumping related, whether it's around the rim, finishing around the rim, whether it's a jump shot, lift on that would be affected. And just acceleration, off the dribble, especially where you have to have a quick burst. Those are the two things in my mind that would be severely affected by a calf. The stuff that he struggled with this season that I won't just sit here and say, oh, it's because the calf is some of the playmaking, like lack of playmaking, some of the misreads he's had, not seeing passes that are there, and then some of the three-point shots that he's decided to shoot, some of the really, really tough threes. It's like, all right, if your calf is hurting your three-point shot, you probably shouldn't be shooting 10 threes per 36 minutes at 25%. You should probably dial it back, especially if that's affecting it. But you're taking a lot of tough threes regardless of the calf issue, and I think that's something that needed to be dialed back a little bit. And he still shot 7 in this game, was 2 for 7, but he shot 18 shots. So I like that, last couple of games, it hasn't been half his shots. We've seen some stretches this year where it's like half his shots are from 3 and he's shooting really poorly. So it feels like he's being more aggressive, and I think that could be due to him feeling a bit better. But he still only played 30 minutes tonight, so I don't really know what the situation is with the minutes restriction or if he's 100% even. This, to me, feels more like, oh, Shaedon Sharpe had a really bad stretch, and now he had 2 amazing games. This is the Shaedon Sharpe that we know.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to wonder if he was settling for bad shots because he wasn't feeling confident driving inside. But I do agree that his shot selection overall is still, I mean, the couple bad threes, I mean, he just eliminates those. And we're talking about like an even better game, right? Yeah. If that's even possible. So I understand he needs to be aggressive. Thiago doesn't seem worried about it. So I'm going to assume that means that Thiago believes he can make those and is giving him the green light on those. So whether we agree with those or not is probably irrelevant. But I do. The one particular where he had Queen switched off and he took a step back 3 on like the top left side.
Yeah,
I thought with the way he was getting to the rim so easily today, I thought he could have just blown by him and gotten an easy basket once again. And so those are the kind of threes I'd like to see him eliminate. But he does seem pretty, at least the last handful of games or so, it does seem like if he gets open 3-point shots, he's hitting them pretty consistently.
Yeah. He's knocked down some mid-ranges. He's taken some mid-ranges that they've given him. It hasn't really been like a settling thing. It's been that's the shot that is there, so that's the shot that he's taking, which is better. I like his shot diet a lot better lately. And it's always easier to like somebody's shot diet when they're making more shots, but I do think it kind of goes into making more shots, and he's finishing better at the rim, which I think if he's not 100% with his legs, calf, whatever muscle injury he's dealing with, his finishing at the rim is going to suffer, because his finishing at the rim, when it's elite, it's because of how explosive of an athlete he is with the body control that he has on top of that leaping ability. So when that leaping ability is zapped at all, it's definitely going to hurt his finishing around the rim. He's not really below the rim finisher, so to say. He's always finishing like at the level of the rim, even if it's layups. He's always around the rim when he's healthy and finishing. So really like that he's had a good couple of games, and tonight he was fantastic, and the Blazers needed his offense, and hopefully he can build upon this. But I've said hopefully he can build upon this so many times throughout his career, I feel like I'm having deja vu right now. Um, I I'm not going to get too high off of 2 games, like he's arrived or sees he's a star now or see like I feel like there's a lot of people out there that just ride the roller coaster. There's still some things that I said I was worried about a couple of games ago. I'm still worried about those things being consistent long run that would need to go into he need to become consistent at to become a star. But if he's not a star and he's like a high level scorer like this and is capable of putting these games together and it's not always going to be consistent, then that's not a bad outcome at all. Having a guy that can take over a game like he did with his scoring today. So I know a lot of people are gonna ride the highs and then be like, what's going on with the lows? I think at the end of the day, until he proves he can be a consistent, 25 to 30 point per game scorer on efficiency, knocking down threes, making the right reads, that sort of thing, it's going to be hard for me to sit here and be like, oh, this is Shane Sharp turning the corner. Because we've seen Shane Sharp have games like this in the past. We've seen Shane Sharp have amazing stretches in the past, and hopefully this is just the beginning of at least another amazing stretch. So we've seen him be inconsistent. So yeah, some of it's due to the calf injury, but until he, gets past that, remains healthy for an extended period of time, and starts putting games like this together for longer stretches, it's still going to seem a little up and down to me, which, at the end of the day, isn't the worst thing. Having somebody that's capable of a game like this is good. But it's just he's going to need a long sample of turning the quarter and having games like this for me to feel like it's different than what we've seen before.
Quietly though, if you take out his first 4 games, actually, he's shooting his shooting is really good this season.
Yeah, but that's a conversation we always have with Sharp. If you just take this sample instead of this sample, it looks good, right?
He has the bad shooting games right out the stretch. The first 4 games were all pretty bad shooting wise, but since then, I mean, it's been pretty good. Outside of the OKC game, he was 6 of 15, but I mean, he's got 6 of 14, 7 of 14, 8 of 17, 9 of 19, 12 of 18 last game, then 12 of 18 tonight again.
Yeah, it's been better in this recent stretch, absolutely. But this just kind of goes back into we'll have stretches where he'll knock down threes, and he'll have stretches where he won't, and that's kind of been what this year is. I mean, after tonight's game, he's 21 for 77 on the season. That is 27%. So until it's like, all right, on the season, he's a 35%. He's consistently knocking down threes to the point where, yeah, you're going to have some hot months where maybe you shoot 40% and some cold months where you shoot 30%, but that's the range it needs to be in. It needs to not be like, he's been shooting well lately, and on the season he's 27% or 31% in that range. So that's just where I'm looking for him to consistently knock down shots at a higher level. Because the rim finishing stuff was great last year, and the mid-range shooting was great last year. So he tapped into that today in a great way. 11 for 11 inside the arc is phenomenal. You can't do any better than that. So really like to see that stuff return, and then it's all right. How can we consistently knock down threes, consistently take the right threes? I think is the next thing for him to figure out this season.
Absolutely, and if he does figure him out, man, look out. But I mean, he's been efficient despite shooting 27%, like you said. He's still over those. It's 7 games versus 4 games, so it's not like I'm taking a small sample size or something. It's still a small sample size, but he's been pretty efficient, even despite missing all those 3-point shots since he figured out his 2-point shot. So hopefully the 3-point shot comes around, like we've talked about several times. His shot selection on those would help a little bit if they ran. I felt like they did run a little bit more pick and roll for him tonight, and that really helped him. A couple times he got a nice screen from Klingon, and that really freed him to get going downhill. I feel like that's a lot better for him than just trying to go one-on-one. We saw that in the first quarter, him lose the ball a couple times. One time it didn't result in a turnover, but he just seems to lose the ball a lot when he tries to isolate. But yeah, I mean, I think he's quietly been more efficient than it would seem with that bad 3-point percentage. You're muted.
Basically, like, the quick summary for me with this conversation we're having is the highs are a lot of fun, and when he's having games like he did last game where he's 12 for 18, and tonight he's 13 for 18, he looks great, and it's very productive, efficient scoring. Needs to get to the point where we're not just, like, picking certain samples, you know? That's just kind of where I'm at. Players are always going to be up and down, but that's why I just like to look at, all right, how's he doing this season? He's doing better lately. But especially for him, you know, I want to see where he's at halfway through this season. Is he 30% from three? Like, does he have a stretch like this where he's scoring well and then the 3-point shooting falls off again and then he struggles because of that and then it picks back up again? But, like, on average, he's around 31, 32% because that's what we've seen the last couple of years. So it's still too early for me to tell if this is turning a corner in that regard or not because we've seen these stretches. So hopefully this is a sign of better things to come in the last 7 games is a start of a stretch of him being more consistent. I just feel like everything that I am saying exactly right now, I've said a couple of different seasons at multiple instances. So we'll see.
I mean, he can be a really effective player still going 2 for 7 from 3. So, but to me, it's been more than 2 games. It's been 7 games now that he's upped his game a little bit. And so I don't feel like it's just 2 games. I feel like he's been on an upward trajectory since the rough few games he started with.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you say that 10 times before. So
okay. Use small sample size for players all the time.
Yeah, but dude, do you not understand the point of it?
No, I get it. You don't want to believe. It's fine. You don't.
That's BS.
No,
That's
I know.
BS. I would love to believe he's a star. I would love to believe he's a star.
There's certain players you need to see it consistently from, and that's fine. That's totally acceptable.
Yeah, like Denny the last 31 games. Like, give me a 30-game sample. You know what I mean? Give me a 30-game sample. Give me a 25-game sample. Like, 7-game samples, 8-game samples, 9-game samples, they're good. Needs to be more consistent. He just flat out needs to be more consistent. So, he might be turning a corner. I'm not sitting here saying that he's not about to break out and do this consistently. All right? I'm just saying I don't know. Yeah. And every time he has a 7-game stretch like this, everybody's always ready to crown him. And then they're disappointed when then he has a stretch where he struggles and it's up and down, up, down. Every time we reach the peak of the roller coaster, there's a lot of people that think it's going to just plateau there. And in the past, it has not. So right now, we're reaching the peak of the roller coaster. Does the roller coaster just keep going on up forever? I would love for that to happen. Absolutely love for that to happen. And it might. I don't know. So it's a lot better. He looks a lot better right now than he did at the start of the year. So this is absolutely a great thing. Absolutely a great thing. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a comment in chat. It's a bit silly to judge someone who has been injured. Well, that's why I contextualized it for you, Matt. I think there's things that shouldn't really be held against him. I think, you know, maybe he was settling for threes a little bit more. I agree with Eric's point there. Maybe he was settling for threes a little bit more due to his calf injury and due to him not being quite as explosive, which that's what a calf injury would affect. But some of the threes that he was missing, as well as some of the really tough threes he was taking and settling for, I don't think you can just chalk up to him having a calf issue. And those were the main things that I was criticizing him for. You know, I think it's hard for anybody to sustain the elite finishing numbers he put up last year, but maybe he's capable of doing it. Early on this season, it looked like he was kind of down to the finisher he was a couple of years ago, but that is something that could absolutely be due to the calf. So if you want to sit here and say that's due to the calf, I won't even argue with you. I agree. It's hard for him to be as explosive of a player when he's dealing with a calf injury. But I think a lot of what his struggles were early in the season were due to decision-making stuff that I'm not just going to sit here and write off for an injury. So That's what I was criticizing. And I think that's very, very, very valid, because a calf injury, your calf isn't in your head. You know what I mean? The injury can I guess get into your head, but I think the decision making and the turnovers have been much better. That was also the thing that he was really struggling with, was having some wild turnover games for somebody that wasn't really creating for others. Even during this good stretch, you know, at Miami, he had 6 turnovers, 1 assist, right? Before that, he had 4 games with 2 or less, but, you know, you look at the first 4 games of the year, he had a 4 turnover game, a 6 turnover game, a 5 turnover game. His assist to turnover ratio on the season before this game, I can add this game to these numbers. I'm just looking at Basketball Reference here. But his assist to turnover ratio, he had 14 assists to 30 turnovers before this game. That's not good. That's really bad. So, yeah. It was better today. 3 assists, 1 turnover. So now it's 17 to 31. So that's just an area of improvement. That's the decision-making stuff. And I don't think that's really, you know, maybe some of the lack of being able to get into the paint and then make a kick-out pass and set teammates up that way. Maybe that was affected by the calf, but I think it just goes beyond that, where I'm not just going to use that as a blanket to explain everything.
Yeah, he did. There's been several points this season where he's missed Klingon or the roll man wide open near the basket. There's been times where he can shoot the lob. But once again, for people who missed this, since October 31st, he's this is before tonight's game. He was shooting 77% on restricted area shots around the rim. And then that was number 1 amongst all guards in the NBA since October 31st. And then tonight it goes 11 for 11. Not all those were in the restricted area, but a good portion of those were. So he'll be dang near around 80% or higher than 80% around the rim. So I think for me personally, I was really worried that he was going to show some regression in terms of finishing around the rim with the first few games, him not struggling around the rim. I felt like that was something that was going to be really, really hurtful to his progression or his ability to reach any sort of higher potential than he already has. And the fact that he's gotten that back over the last couple weeks, when it hasn't even really seemed like he had until the last couple games, but he had been finishing pretty, better than any other guard in the NBA over that stretch. I think that really shows that, and part of that is with the calf injury too. So hopefully he continues that. It gives me belief, much like what you were saying with Denny, that this is now, with the finishing at least, a pretty good sample size if you include all of last season and now him getting it back on track this season. So I feel like he's gotten that part locked back in. And if he fixes the other things that you mentioned, the decision making and the shot selection, which ties in with decision making, I do feel like he's pretty close to putting it all together and being more consistent.
Yeah, I hope so. Unfortunately, like, we can have conversations like this, and I can say he had a great game 7 times, and there's still people in chat that will come in chat and be like, Sharp had a great game today. I'm listening to you guys. It doesn't seem like it. He had a terrific game. He had a fantastic game. He had a beautiful game. He had a fabulous game. He had a phenomenal game. He had an amazing game. He had a great game. All right, I will search for more adjectives if you need me to, but he's had a great game. This conversation is more so in the bigger context of, like, all right, can he turn the corner and can he be more consistent? That's what I want to see from him. And I hold him to a high standard. I hold him to like, I want to see him be consistent. I don't want to be sitting here looking at his 3-point percentage. He's a 27% shooter on the year. So, you know, it's good that since the rough 4-game stretch, he's turned it around and he's had 2 great games. And I hope that this is a sign of more consistency to come. More consistency to come. But, like, when we're evaluating a player, like if he's playing like a star or not, you don't have to squint. Like Denny Avdia right now, You don't have to squint. He's averaging 26 a game. He's like 26, 7, and 5 on really good efficiency. And you look at him, you could sit here and say, oh, it's only 11 games. All right, well, if I look at the last 31 games, if I look at the last 20 games of last year, right, after the All-Star break, I'll pull up the splits. I'll pull up the splits for Denny. After the All-Star break last year, as a reminder, as a refresher. Whoops, I'm looking at the wrong splits. 2024, 2025. After the All-Star game last year, in case you forget, Denny averaged 23.3 points per game, 9.7 rebounds, and 5.2 assists on a true shooting percentage of 64%. He's continuing right where he's left off. And we're talking about a guy that was, the last 2 years, a second-half player. And this season, this is the best stretch of his career. This is even better than the 20-game stretch last year. But this is why I'm so confident in it being sustainable. Like, the way that he's getting his buckets and his shooting, like, he's continuously progressed throughout his career. He was, 37% year 4 in Washington after struggling his first 3 years. Last year he was 36.5%, and this year 36.8% going into this game. He was 4 for 8, right? So he's, for the last 3 years, including this season, consistently shooting at a 37% clip from 3. The driving is clearly sustainable. And he's playing like a star, and I don't have to squint to see it. It's very, very clear. So love the way that he's playing. And today he starts super hot, he goes quiet, and then at the end of the game he still has 32 points. Like, it's almost like he's becoming capable of getting 25 in his sleep, where it's easy to him, where the bar's being raised to the point where if he has 25, it can feel like a quiet Denny game almost, which is awesome. I think part of what goes into it feeling like a quiet game is when somebody gets to the line a ton. Those don't really stand out as field goals, right? So, he's not hitting a ton of tough shots, and he might have a game where he gets 12 free throws and makes all 12 free throws, so it doesn't feel the same, and that's why it's a quiet game, so to say. But he's getting to the line a ton, 8 free throws tonight. Let me pull up the box score. 4 for 5 from the free throw line, 4 for 8 from 3, 12 for 18 from the field. What do you think of Denny today?
Yeah, Denny was once again awesome. It was kind of weird seeing his box score after the game and seeing only 1 rebound and 2 assists, because it felt like he had more of an impact other than just scoring. But man, yeah, he's getting the job done every game. And you mentioned his stats last year and this year. Always got to throw in Eurobasket too, which he played well in. So yeah, he's been doing it in different formats, different styles of games, different rosters. He's just getting it done.
Agreed. Really like some of his drives and the spin move that he's been going to lately. I think that's good. Because guys are starting to wall him off. Like, defenses are starting to wall him off a little bit more, help more on his drives where he's maybe not able to get all the way to the rim, and then he's able to turn and finish. I think that's a good counter, as well. But the 3-point shot looks good right now. He's shooting it with confidence. It was weird that he airballed that wide open one, considering how well he's been shooting the ball, and he shot well today and gets a wide open 3 and airballs it.
Yeah. So Trevin says last 31 games, which is post All-Star plus this year for Denny, is 24, 9, and 5 on 64% true shooting.
Yeah, that's impressive. If the All-Star voting happened right now, he'd be an All-Star, which is cool. Can he be a 26, 7, and 5 guy in January when All-Star teams start to get decided? Let's hope, because it would be really cool to see Portland represented in the All-Star game by somebody other than Damian Lillard or LaMarcus Aldridge. Brandon Roy's the only other Blazer I've seen represent them, so would be really cool to see that happen.
Did you say LaMarcus?
Yeah. Like other than Dame or LaMarcus or Roy.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said other than Dame, just Roy. I didn't hear the word.
Yeah, other than Dame or LaMarcus, Roy's the only other guy. Maybe I forgot to say it, but I thought, yeah, Dame, LaMarcus, Roy, since 2006. Only 3 All-Stars in a Blazer uniform. So it'd be cool to see somebody different represent the Blazers in the All-Star game for sure.
Oh, man. We had this argument at the beginning of chat. The format for how the team is selected is exactly the same. It's still Eastern and Western Conference, 12 from each. And then they pull the 8 players from the international to make one team. If there is not 8, I guess Adam Silver picks an 8th player or something. Pretty sure there's going to be 8 this year, though.
Yeah, so the world team having 8 guys, what if there's only 5 international players selected?
I think Adam Silver fills out the team, but there's 7 like guaranteed to make it, and an 8th is almost guaranteed too. So it's
why does he fill out the team? Because it's 3 teams at 8, which is 24 players, which is 12 from each conference.
Yeah, I'm saying I think they select 3. If just in your scenario, if there was 5, they were talking about this on the broadcast tonight. If there was 7, Adam Silver would choose an additional All-Star to be on.
Oh, so you just have American view of the world. Well, I guess that makes sense because it'd be a combination of different countries, but it'd be kind of weird if you had a world team with like 4 U.S. players on it.
But this is why it's weird to format it this way, because if you're not like, it'd be one thing if you're doing USA versus the world and that was the vote. Like instead of Eastern Western Conference, it was international versus USA. But the thing is, it's just there's so many guys too that like have played for other teams internationally, even though they might be American or have dual citizenship or something. So are they just going to like put them? But like if there's more than 8 international guys, then there's going to be international guys on the US teams too. So I don't know.
Yeah, true. That's really weird. If I made the All-Star game as an American that was born in Germany, because my dad was a U.S. soldier on a base over there when I was born, I guess I would be the first American to be put on the world team. I don't know.
Making it about yourself again.
Yeah, I love to do that. But yeah, I don't really. It's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be hard to get exactly 8. Because I've wondered, like, does that help Denny's case? But I don't think it does. I think it's just, which I don't think it should. I don't want Denny to make an All-Star game as, oh, he's just an All-Star because they needed 8 world guys and they had 6 that were worthy. Like, it should be fully off of merit.
Yeah. Well, if you just think about it, Giannis, Wemby, Jokic, SGA, those are slam dunk 4, right? Those are guaranteed. Then you got Şengün, made it last year. Trying to see who the other international guys were. I guess Siakam. He's not guaranteed to make it this year. Probably won't make it this year. It's weird. Like, you count Cat as a international guy? So if so, then he is one. I don't know if he'll make it this year again.
I think that's where it's like he can conveniently be U.S. or world, depending on what they need to fill. Yeah,
Luka was hurt last year, so he didn't make the team, but he'd almost certainly make it this year.
Oh, he's already missed some games, so they don't have a threshold though. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, there's always injuries that time of year as well to guys. I think predict right now. All right, we'll do a chat poll for this as well. So chat, you guys can vote. Okay. Will Denny Avdia make the All-Star team? I'm sure we're going to get a ton of yeses. If you had to predict right now, do you think he makes the All-Star team, Eric? Do you think he'll be on the All-Star team once teams are announced?
I'm gonna say he should be, but he won't. I just think it's gonna be too tough in the West to make it. But he definitely should be if he continues this. Man, if we would have won those last 2 games that we should have won, this is where we get frustrated with the losses, because if we're sitting there once again in like the 3rd seed or something in January, it looks a lot better. I mean, we still might be. But.
I think there's always like 2 guys that are injured per conference.
Oh yeah, if we're talking about injury replacement.
Well, no, just like if you had to put money on it that he would be an all-star, either as an injury replacement or like on the team, like basically be there for the all-star game as an all-star. That's basically the basis of the question. Yeah. I think he will be. I think if I had to guess, he'll be like an injury replacement. But, I mean, if it was voted for today, how could he not be? He's averaging 26, 7, and 5. Or it was 25 before this, but he scored 32. So let's just say 26, 7, and 5 on elite efficiency. How is that not an all-star? Like, that's absolutely all-star numbers, man. So, like, he obviously doesn't have the name recognition of other guys, but he'd be an all-star over John Morant. He'd be an all-star over Jaren Jackson Jr. And they're not selecting for position this year, was one of the things about it. So, yeah, I think
Alan says Laurie's averaging 28, 6, and 4 on better efficiency.
28, 6, and which is better, 28, 6, and 4 or 26, 7, and 5 on a better team?
More efficient, though.
I mean, how sustainable? I feel like Denny's efficiency is sustainable. What's Laurie shooting on this season? Laurie's efficiency isn't even better. What do you mean better efficiency? He has a 61% true shooting percentage. And Denny has a 62% true shooting percentage. So Laurie is not more efficient than Denny.
Fake news from Elizabeth Allen.
Yeah, so I'd take Denny right now over Laurie. I would absolutely take Denny. I absolutely would. Better defensive player. Laurie is 28, 6, and 2. He's averaging 2 assists per game, not 4. So Laurie, who's having an amazing season, but just to put Denny's play in context right now, Laurie's having this amazing season. He's averaging 28 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists on a 61% true shooting percentage. Denny, after today, he was 12 for 18 today, so that true shooting percentage probably goes up. Denny, after today, is 26, 7, and 5. We're rounding there. Like roughly 26, 7, and 5 on a 62% true shooting percentage. So that's literally a better stat line, and he's on a better team. So I think if it came down to Laurie versus Denny, if they were selecting all-star teams right now, I think Denny should be ahead of him.
See, so chat is saying there's 7 people guaranteed, and they're including Kat in there. So I just looked it up. Kat was born in Edison, New Jersey. Went to high school in New Jersey. Went to Kentucky. I know he also claims Dominican, but that's the type of thing. If there's, I don't think he's also Kat making an all-star team does not matter one bit whether Denny makes it or not.
True.
Because he's in the Eastern Conference. And once again, they vote for the Eastern Conference All-Stars and the Western Conference All-Stars, and then they pick 8. They don't pick 8 from the pool of voting and then fill the USA team. They pick the 24 just like they used to, and then they take all the international players, up to 8 of them, to form a team. So it doesn't matter. There's all kinds of guys like Kyrie. I don't know if he actually played, but he was on the roster for Australia a couple times. Like,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of players that in the Olympics or other Eurobasket or whatever, you can qualify if like your parents were born there, or there's different qualifiers. So you aren't necessarily guaranteed. And so this is where it comes into play. If it is USA versus the world, and there's only 6 players for international that make it, then yeah, they probably put Cat on the world team. If there is already 8, including Denny, then Cat probably plays for the USA one. It doesn't. I don't think it really even matters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the question: is how is it defined? I don't think they're going to define it because it makes it easier to actually put teams together in a way that makes sense, and keep it more based off merit.
You are completely misunderstanding what they said on the broadcast. They did not talk about how the team was voted for. They were only talking about how the teams are split up. And they said that 7 of the players from last year would have been international. And then you add Luka, it would have made 8. They said nothing on the broadcast about the way the teams are voted upon. And it is exactly the same as last year. The NBA came out and said that today, made it clear. They had several because that people were wondering, but they came out and made sure everyone was aware that it was still Eastern Conference and Western Conference, 12 players from each, the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
which is how it should be. Because I don't know how many contracts have all-star incentives tied to them, but there is the possibility of all-star incentives in contracts, and if you change the way that's determined, that I think can be iffy in terms of these contracts. So, yeah, I was wondering about that. Glad to have some clarity. I think Denny makes the All-Star team this year, man, which would be really cool. Really cool. If he keeps playing like this, if he keeps putting up these numbers, and I don't know, man, like, is there any of this that you think is unsustainable for him?
For Denny, no. I mean, we talked about this last time. I don't know if, especially when Scoot gets back, like, I think his usage is going to go down a little bit. So maybe his scoring dips a little bit. Maybe his assist numbers dip a little bit. But it's not necessarily not sustainable. It's just he's not having to do as much as he did, and maybe he can be more efficient with his touches and stuff like that.
I mean, he's already being so efficient. I think it's
no,
tough.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I think his numbers might look a little worse if we're fully healthy, but it's simply just because, like, obviously playing with like Tamani and Chris Murray and Sissoko right now, you have to take more shots than you normally would. But once Scoot's back, he's going to be a little bit more in control of the offense, and Denny will have to do a little bit less.
Yeah. I almost think Denny can benefit a little bit playing off a Scoot, just as somebody that can maybe draw his defender and kick to him, because there's not enough of those players right now. Although he's gotten some open threes for some reason the past couple of games that have been surprisingly open. But also, like, you know, Chris Murray took 4 shots today. Sissoko took 2. You know, that's 6 shots right there. Like, Scoot's going to eat into those guys' minutes. I would hate to see Denny's usage dip because he's been so efficient and so productive in his usage. I think it would be tough for anybody to like take any of that usage and do just as well with it. So, I mean, basketball's more complicated than that. It's not exactly how it works, right? Having somebody to take the pressure off could make him a little bit more productive in the usage that he does have, right? So, you know, it's kind of nuanced and ambiguous, but I think at the end of the day, like, the results of Denny being as aggressive as he is, taking as many shots as he is, driving as much as he is, the results from that have been great. He was a plus 16 today. They won by 8. I mean, how many games are we sitting here like, oh, he's a plus 24 and they lost by 5 or plus 31 or whatever it was against Miami, right? So when he's on the court, this team is legitimately good. When he's off the court, this team seems pretty damn bad. So if Scoot's good enough where it's like he dips into Denny's usage, but he's having similar production, then that's absolutely great. I just think with how good Denny's playing, no matter who's out there on the court, he needs to remain this aggressive and remain this important for the offense.
Yep. Hopefully that's the case. But, like I said, with Scoot, I mean, you have to give him a little bit of touches. And I don't know. I think rather than just like, oh, well, he's going to be in place of this person, I think he's just going to take a little bit from Drew, a little bit from Sharp, a little bit from Denny. But I hope not too much in Denny's case.
Yep, agreed. Drew. Speak on Drew. 37 minutes tonight, 17 points, 12 assists with 3 turnovers. He was 6 for 12 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3.
Yeah, like I said, it feels like he's committing some really sloppy turnovers, but then you look at his numbers and you're like, okay, you could take 3 turnovers with 12 assists.
Yeah.
I just been steady. Good shooting night from him. Good to see him playing his old, his old team, and I thought he made a couple big threes in this game, just made a ton of great, really good passes. I'd actually like to see him throw even more lobs than he's doing. That's the whole team in general. But
it takes having your 7-2 big play around the rim instead of behind the 3-point line. But yeah, I agree.
I do. So there was a point in this game where I felt it was almost visible that he was getting frustrated that there was no one around the rim when he was driving, and he was almost like reluctantly kicking out to Klingon, who was standing at the 3-point line. And we talked about that last stream. I just want to see Klingon around the basket more.
Let's have that conversation. But first, I just want to say this was a great game from Drew. An absolutely great game from Drew. It was nice to see him have this game after having the 3 fourth-quarter turnovers he had last game, including the one in the final 5 seconds that was just a really, really bad mistake. 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I will never complain about a turnover a guy makes unless it's a situation where it's like 5 seconds left, tie game. You should never turn over the ball in that situation. That was the worst turnover of the year. It lost him the game, you could say, although any bad play in a close game could technically lose you a game. We'll never have an issue outside of that with a guy that gets 12 assists, 3 turnovers. Like the way he sets up his teammates is veteran stuff. There's one thing to like pass to an open guy or drive, and then a couple guys are on you and you kick out and you knock down a 3 and to get 4 or 5 assists a game that way, compared to situations where you have a teammate that doesn't have like a clear scoring opportunity, but you're shifting the defense with your eyes, or you're like changing up your pace and transition to allow a player to get into a better opportunity or to shift the defense to give them more space to score. There's like a different quality of that. And that's what I've seen from a lot of his playmaking is he's creating situations, optimal situations for his teammates to score in transition, especially. I talked about it a couple games ago. He had a really nice assist to Denny where he slowed up. Denny had a guard running with him. So he sees Denny has a guard running with him down the middle of the floor. I'm going to slow up at the 3-point line so my guy stays out on me. I'm going to look the other way so the other defender's coming back or thinking I'm passing over there. So they're starting to shift that way. And then I'm going to hit Denny because now he has space because I kept my guy at the 3-point line. I slowed down. I didn't drive. And then I looked the other way, shifted the rest of the defense, or at least froze the rest of the defense, giving Denny this bubble to take advantage of the mismatch he has against a smaller player. He finished, got an and one. On the stat sheet, that's an assist. And that assist counts the same way as, I drive and 3 guys helped on me, so I'm just going to make a simple kick-out pass and they knock down the 3, right? But assists, I don't think are created equal. There's something special about being able to manipulate the game to get your teammates in better situations for them to score. And that, I think, as I said on a previous post-game show, is the best way to define the phrase makes their teammates better, right? And it's not even, you can't really make your teammate better, literally, but you can give them better situations, better opportunities to score based on just little things that you can do as a point guard. And that's what I've loved from Drew's passing so far this season. It's been a fun quality to have on this team. He's doing stuff that I haven't seen a Blazer point guard do maybe since Andre Miller, right? Dame score first, 32 points. He would get 8 assists a game and he can pass, but it was he draws so much attention that it's he's going to get 8 assists a game if he has competent players around him because he's drawing so much attention and making the right pass, making some good passes. But there's an extra level to it with Drew.
Yeah, I mean, that one today, the Shea dunk, he kicks it back to Chris Murray. Maybe not the best decision, but then Chris makes nice cross-court pass. But yeah,
was that the Chris to Sharp play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Drew's really impressed me with his passing. I feel like he hasn't been this level of a passer his whole career, and maybe that's just because he's forced into that role being, pretty much our only true point guard on the roster. But he really is playing more of a point guard than I've really seen him play a point guard position in particular. Now he might have been a better player at other stops when he was younger. But in terms of the way he's seeing the floor as a passer, as a true point guard, it's really it's been one of the best bright spots of this season so far, is just knowing that he's as good of a table setter as he's become, because I really didn't think it seemed like he was more of the Dame type of playmaker where or CJ even, where it was if you're the main ball handler, you're going to get 6 or 7 assists, but it's just within the flow of the offense. But he's actually creating some offense with some really nice passes.
Yep. Before we move on, just ignore the rage bait. You were being rage baited, I swear. Oh man, I just caught up on the chat. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Klingon. So, oh man, let's talk about Klingon. 9 points, 11 boards in 27 minutes. Had 3 turnovers. He was 4 for 5 inside the arc. He was 0 for 4 from 3. Do you think it's time for him to stop shooting threes because he's not a good enough shooter of threes right now?
Occasionally let one fly, but for the most part, I just feel so much better about him rolling or around the rim, and I don't understand why there's so many possessions where he's camped around the 3-point line if he's not hitting them consistently.
He's shooting under 20% from 3 right now. He should not be shooting threes right now.
Yeah.
He needs to put in more work on his shot because his shot obviously is not good enough. I mean, to play devil's advocate to myself, you could make the point that, he's 6 for 31. If he's, makes 4 of the 22 he missed, he'd be 10 for 31, and then he's, 32%, and then he's close enough to being good. But, we're stretching it, right? It is a small sample size. He is 11 for 12 from the free throw line this year, which is nice to see after being 60% last year. He's currently 91.7%. Of course, that's a small sample size as well. Don't expect him to be above 90% at this end of the year. So, I think dial it back. If he's not making his first 3 or first 2 threes, there's no reason he should have 4. I think at this point, shoot 1, max 2 if you miss both, stop shooting. But I don't like how much it's he's open at the arc, so he's shooting a 3, or he's open at an arc, so he's on top of the arc, so he's passing up a three to go hand it off to somebody. They're not getting him the ball at the top of the arc where he's making passes to cutters or guys coming off screens or making reads. And that was one of the things that he was supposed to be able to do coming into the league. That was something he did at UConn. So they're not utilizing his passing at the top of the arc, but he's playing a ton around the arc right now. And basically it's like, since he's not being used as a passer, he's either a three-point shooter or he just is absolutely a non-threat. He basically moves the ball along to the next guy. So there's just possessions where I feel like his ability is being wasted because they're putting him in a position where he's not a threat at all. And he's 7'2". If he's 6'9", sure. If he's 6'9", who knows if he's even in the league. But he's 7'2". He's massive, and he's shooting under 20% from three. He's shooting way too many threes. Way too many threes. Almost half his field goal attempts are threes. 27 of his 67 this season have been threes. And tonight, 4 out of his 9 field goal attempts were threes. So it's basically wasted possessions. And he's not a threat. Like, at least if he's in the dunker spot, the rim protector has to think, okay, I can't help over too early or else then they're passing behind me for a dunk. He's being put in a position where defenses don't even have to respect him. And he's not making them pay at all. And the usage of him and where he sets up offensively has to change. And I think it's a coaching issue. I do think it's a coaching issue. I think if they were putting him in better positions, if they were telling him to play in the dunker spot, I think he would be. I think he's very coachable.
He got that and one right off the beginning of the game, or not right at the beginning of the game, but a few plays into the game. He got a couple lob opportunities throughout the game. I just think there is a reason when he catches the ball, there's usually not a single defender within 10 feet of him.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. It's ruining the spacing of the floor. It's not, people want him to shoot at this point. If he makes it, so be it. But like, the frustrating part is, I mean, pretty much all his threes are right on. They're not that far from all going in. It's not really that far off, but dude, you can't keep shooting if you only hit 20% of them or less. So got to figure out something there. And there was a stretch because I was like watching him a lot during this game and getting very upset when he just camped out. But there was a stretch where it was like 8 to 10 plays in a row where he sprinted down the court or like rolled really hard off a screen. So I really thought he was doing making an effort to go inside and try to beat his man down the court. Gotten really good position a couple times because of it. There was that one where he had the guys, I forgot who it was, might have been Herb or somebody, but someone was fronting him in the post, and he had really good positioning. And it might have been Drew that threw the pass, but it was like way short. If he would have thrown it anywhere near the rim, it would have been an easy 2 points. So I really like that stretch for him, and it left me wondering why we don't use him more like that, where he's just like a rim runner and only kind of camping out around the hoop unless he's setting a screen and then rolling hard back to the hoop.
Yep. Agreed. Use him as a threat, like pick and rolls with Drew really good when he gets space in the mid-range. Use Clegan's screens to give him more space in the mid-range. I know the offensive system is supposed to go away from ball screens, but especially when that's not really working and things are clunky, you're having a rough shooting night, they need to be able to fall back on Clingan as a pick-and-roll partner, I think, a little bit more than they are right now. And, I mean, some of these wide-open threes, he's setting ball screens and then popping. And it's like, no, every ball screen he needs to roll on, that's when he's a threat. And if, he's playing in the flow and tries to space out, that's a little bit better to me. I don't like a 7'2" big who sets good screens, setting screens, and then popping when he's not a shooter, because when you set good screens, it creates space. That means the guy guarding the screener has to account for that. And you are in a 2-on-1 situation going downhill if you attack that, if both guys go downhill. But when one guy pops, it makes it, I think, easier to guard. So anyway, other players in this game. Tamani's the next star we got to talk about. Go ahead.
Before we move on from Klingon, I'm going to post this link in chat. Okay, the Blazers actually put a graphic on this today based on this tweet. Okay, so this is a tweet by Basketball University on Twitter, in which it is the leaders in points saved per 100 possessions this year in the NBA. Klingon is at 8.8 points saved per 100 possessions on total defended field goal attempts. That is by far number one in the NBA. The next closest is Derrick Jones Jr. at 5.1. The next closest after that is 4.1. So he's almost, other than barely with Derrick Jones Jr., he's over double the amount of points saved per 100 possessions, which is incredible defense. And as Basketball University says, he's lapping the field here. But he says last year, the season leader was Donovan Klingon with 3.9 points saved for 100 possessions, with Wemby and Chet right behind him. So 3.9, he's over double what he led the league in last year. Now, a lot of people seem like he is not having any sort of impact on defense and is playing like crap and all that kind of stuff. And I really feel like a lot of what he's doing goes unnoticed or doesn't show up in the box score, because he does have moments where he messes up. He has 3 turnovers tonight. He misses the 3-point shots, and it is kind of frustrating. But in terms of actual defensive impact, the stats don't lie on this. Klingon has an immense impact on defense, and it's on a defense that, frankly, is struggling other than him to contain players around the perimeter. So he is, I think this is also a byproduct of just how much pressure he's having to overcome, or how many situations he's having to try and save with how pressuring our defense is.
Anyway, also, if you send me links, I can always pop them up on the stream. We got the setup for that. So Travis' story doesn't like you posting a link because it'll take people off the stream. People will always come back if they want to, so it's fine. Also, you should have, if you're watching YouTube on your phone, you should have the video player that pops down when you open something else up. But anyway, I do want to say, sorry, I'm all over the place. I do want to say about that analytic, it doesn't quite feel that way. It doesn't like, this looks great, right? It doesn't feel like he's this dominant defensively this year. Does it feel that way to you?
I mean, he doesn't have, the problem is it's not like, I mean, he had a couple blocks in this game that were nice, but overall, I think it's hard for me to tell, because I don't know. I feel like our defense overall, and you mentioned that we're going to talk about Tamani in a second, but like, when some of our really good perimeter defenders are just getting constantly blown by, I don't know if it's necessarily he's not seeming like he's as good as last year, or if it's just he's just been put in so much worse spots with how bad our defense has played than last year. But I do still feel like he is a deterrent around the rim. I feel like teams are getting more downhill than they were last year and getting like a step where he's maybe not in the best position or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, whenever there's a stat like that, I always want to know exactly how it's determined. If I can't explain exactly how a stat's determined, it's tough for me to like put too much stock into it, so to say. Which probably isn't fair because analytics are every front office has an analytics department at this point. It's a big part of basketball, and it does explain things. It's just, what about, there's always ambiguous situations or situations that are hard to judge in basketball. And are those crediting Klingon in situations where, it's not actually Klingon, it's maybe somebody else? Like, there's I think a blurry area, especially with defense, that's hard to quantify. So, especially with a defensive analytic like that, it's tough for me to put total stock in it. I do think there's a reason why he's at the top of these graphs, and that's because he is a great rim protector. But yeah, I think he's having a really good defensive season. I said I thought he would have a massive season. Impact wise, it doesn't really feel like that yet. I think some of that is because he's not being played around the rim enough offensively. I think some of it is there's just been times where you can tell he's trying not to foul and maybe isn't as impactful defensively, but he's been doing a better job this season, it feels like, with foul trouble, where he's not fouling as much. And if he's, if analytics
getting stupid fouls though, still.
Yeah, here and there, but like, how many times have we talked about him being in serious foul trouble this year? I'm sure there's a couple games I'm forgetting, but it hasn't felt like it's as frequent as last year. And he has not gotten a friendly whistle this year. I ranted about it on a previous postgame show. So if he's still productive like this analytically while being a little safer, trying not to foul and not getting a friendly whistle, then I don't know how you can ask for much more. It's just always a difference, I think, between some of these analytics and the eye test. Like, is Derek Jones Jr. the second best rim protector this year? Because he was second on that graph. He's a good defender, but points saved. It's not rim protection. It's yeah.
So to me, when I look at that, I see the 159 and that's only Wemby has 176. So to me, that just seems like he's having to save a lot more possessions or a lot more things than last year, and that's probably the only difference. I don't know.
Yeah, chat. Let me know what you think. Do you put stock in the in those analytics? Let's talk about Tamani. It felt like Tamani didn't have a good game, but he had 13 points and 5 assists and was 4 for 8 from the field. He did have 4 turnovers. I think that's kind of what stands out a little bit. 3 for 6 from 3. There's just times where he gets beat off the dribble, and it's like, last year's Tamani maybe doesn't get beat off the dribble there. And it feels like he's struggling to draw some of these offensive fouls, almost like refs are just expecting him to embellish them where they were buying it last year. The defense just doesn't feel quite the same. I've talked about that multiple times, but it once again felt like that tonight. It was nice to see him have 5 assists. He had a really nice assist to a cutting Sharp late in this game. And when Tamani can shoot well enough, like he did in this game, 3 for 6 from 3, where guys start closing out and then he attacks those closeouts and can make plays for others, then that's where he becomes a really solid offensive player for what he can bring defensively. I think there's been a lot of games where he's just been a non-factor from the three-point arc, so he can't really do anything. So hopefully this is the start of something better of him turning it around in the shooting department, because he was 31% coming into this game. So I do like some of the playmaking he's had this year. He's showing some flashes there and 5 assists, even though he had some rough turnovers. Like he's not a point guard, right? So what were you gonna say?
I don't want him driving right now. It's that bad.
I want him
or at least not shooting on the drive.
I don't want to say I don't want him driving, because if he drives only to pass, then defenses are going to account for that.
I know.
No, I get what you're saying, because he's had some rough finishes around the rim. He needs It's probably something he's not going to ever figure out because it's year 3 and it doesn't really look much better than it
Dude,
did his rookie year.
He had a post up against the shortest player in the NBA and got the ball stolen.
You know what's funny is like, you know what big wing that could defend and make plays for others used to struggle with that?
LeBron?
No, Blazer.
Oh. I don't know.
Chad, do you know? Do you know who I'm referencing? Let's see it. Let's see the first person in chat to get this right.
I'm probably forgetting someone.
It's like a similar issue, but like different way. Not Aminu, not Harkless. A guy that defended and could pass a bit. But like when you posted up a small guy, never went well. Shout out to Brandon Woods. He says, I feel like it's Batum. Yeah, you remember that with Batum? You know, like he could pass, he could make plays off the dribble. The thing is, he could finish going downhill, but like when you threw the ball into him against a small guy in the post, like he'd just get pushed around. But Tamani's not really a guy that gets. He's stronger, so it's weird to me. It's like different.
There was that series where they put Steve Nash on him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah. Steve Nash got away with guarding him.
Yeah, I mean, all Tamani had to do was like turn around and shoot over him, and he tries to back him down, losing the ball. That one turnover he had at the beginning of the game where he drove in and just had nowhere to go and just loses the ball. Like, oh, man. But, yeah,
what do you think is the biggest problem with his drives? Is it lack of ball handling, lack of body control, lack of strength, like what is he lacking?
It's kind of weird to explain, but I feel like when he drives, he doesn't understand angles very well.
Yeah.
So like he'll drive and he'll get to like he'll be dribbling towards the middle of the paint and he has a step on his defender and he could turn in and get like go right to the basket like Denny does or seal him or like kind of step into him but like use his body to shield him off, but like almost every time he just keeps going in whatever line he's going across and then has to shoot kind of a running where it's not necessarily a fadeaway, but he's like going away from the basket by the time he extends his arm up. Where if he just like started his shot while he's going into the paint, then he would be right at the hoop when he did that instead of like 5 feet away from the hoop. So I just think he doesn't necessarily understand very well how to like shield his defender or to get an inside position or a shoulder into the paint to where you beat someone to a spot and get to the hoop that way, or like just like almost like a running back, you know, where you like jump cut to the to a hole in the offensive line or something. It just seems like he's like, okay, I'm going to go this way. And then if it's not open or whatever, like he has no kind of counter or anything to that.
Yeah, no, actually, I think that's a great explanation. It's funny because Denny is so great with angles and Tamani is so bad.
Right.
Like it's so different. I wish he could learn something from Denny.
Power. Yeah.
A lot of things.
He's so strong. But like,
yeah, but like, I think part of it is you create your own angles, right? Yeah. If you're driving at a defender and you're able to like get to the point where you can put your inside shoulder through their outside shoulder and either draw a foul or you make it so they open up, right? When they open up, you got a lane to the rim. But if you're just trying to completely go around them as they slide with you, that's when you're all of a sudden at a really bad angle. You're not going towards the rim. And that's what it feels like with Tamani. And with Denny, it's like he creates that angle to the rim with being willing to like lower his shoulder and put it through a defender's outside shoulder. You can't put it through their chest. That's when it's an offensive foul. But if they're sliding with you and you can put it through their shoulder, that's when you're going to pick up the foul calls that Denny does. And a lot of defenders, you know, they're more solid. If you get hit in the chest, you're getting hit in the center, right? So it's if anything, you're going to get hit back, but you're going to be stronger there than if you're getting hit on the shoulder. It's going to move you a little bit more. And that's what I see with Denny is he creates a lot of these great angles with how he attacks a defender's body. And Tamani isn't as quick or as strong, so it's tougher for him. But also, I think he's contact averse. And I think part of the thing with Denny, too, is like he's able to dish out that contact and maintain control of the ball off the dribble or picking it up or whatever. And I don't have faith in Tamani being able to. So there's a combination of traits there that makes Denny truly special that Tamani just doesn't have. And I wish he could learn, because I don't even, he's not the greatest ball handler, but I think his handle's good enough, like on a straight line drive, where if he just played a little stronger, like I used to dishing out some of this contact, using his body more, trying to get more downhill, it would be better than some of these shots that he has.
Well, he obviously doesn't have the vertical that Sharp has, but Sharp's been doing a really good job of extending his arms out and creating angles that way. Like he'll be at the same point as the defender, but he uses his ability to extend his arm out and lay the ball in, and like he uses it really well. Like he's done a really good job of shielding off his guy or just getting to the backboard and laying it off at certain angles. And I feel like Tamani has the arms to be able to like go right at a defender, and even if he's in position, reach around him and still get right to the cup to lay it in. And another thing that's been happening a lot the last couple of years, Drew and Denny have this in their game as well. It's the deceleration step where you almost like stop on a dime, where it seems like it's like the Top Gun flyby. I'm going to hit the brakes and they're going to fly by. So maybe he should try that sometimes. But I really feel like on some of his drives, if he just, when he has a step on the defender, like if they close out hard and he drives, instead of like kind of letting him get back in front of him, if he just used his body to shield him off and just kind of slowed down a little bit and just made them either have to foul over the top of him or just shielded him off until he got to the rim, I feel like that would be an easy adjustment for him. But I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't. If there's a defender in his way, he's not going to make any sort of move to get around them.
Yeah. Yep. It's something for him to learn, man. It's just, I've talked about this. Like, I'm all for, this player's young, they have time. Tamani was an older rookie, so he's, 25 now? 24, 25?
It's at least 25, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't really given that in the lack of improvement in the first 3 years, I don't really expect anything to ever be much different there. I mean, it's not to say that he can't learn how to be better.
Yeah, it's 25.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just hoping that this stuff would show more signs of improvement by now. But there's other areas of the game, and I think he's improved as a passer this year, kind of quietly. Like, he's made some nice passes, and it's nothing that's going to be amazing, but on the season, he is averaging 3 assists a game. Like, for a 3-and-D player to give you 3 assists a game, 1.6 turnovers. So he's, almost a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio instead of a 1-to-2 assist to turnover ratio. That's a little bonus in today's game. 5 assists, like just playing on the flow, trying to make the right play. I do like that. Just wish he could, be more of a threat driving, because he's shown that when he draws defense, he can make a nice dump off pass or kick out pass. So I think if he could finish a little bit better, it might draw the defense even more and make that come alive even more. Because there is drives where it just seems like he doesn't really know exactly what to do. Let's talk about the bench real quick, and then we'll wrap up the stream. Go ahead.
Last thing about Kamara, dude, it is driving me crazy, him getting beat off the dribble so much.
Too much.
It's way too much. And that one with Fears towards the end of the game, like, Fierce had the step on him, so if he goes by him there, fine. In a situation where he recovered back, got in front of him, Fierce dribbled back out, and then still went by him. And that happened a couple times in this game where he just got blown by on the perimeter. Man, gotta stop that, man. I just
He's playing up too much against quick guys.
Yeah. I need him to start. Like Rob Will and Klingon both have blocks recently where like a 3-point shooter thinks they're open and they like close out and get to him. I feel like Tamani could do that too. Like give him a little bit of space, like you said, just keep him in front of you, and you can still easily contest a 3-point shot if they shoot it and maybe even block it. But man, he's just getting in one-on-one situations like that way too often this year for how good of a defensive player he is. He's just getting blown by.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think maybe it's a little bit of overconfidence where he feels like he can pressure a quick point guard and not get beaten off the dribble. Or it's the Blazers scheme and how much they're trying to turn over other teams and provide pressure and make them uncomfortable. That's the tagline, right? So Tamani, I guess, is trying to make guys uncomfortable, and then he's getting beat off the dribble, and it's making us uncomfortable. So, definitely needs to improve. Jeremy gets ejected today. Nothing to say there. We already talked about that. Chris Murray, 6 points, 7 boards, 3 for 4 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. I mean, they were talking about it on the broadcast, like, oh, he does little things and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but then I see defenders leave him wide open from the 3-point line. And sometimes it feels like guys don't even want to kick out to him because they don't have faith in him knocking down a 3. And then he gets a completely wide open 3 and he misses it. And now I don't even know what his percentage is at now. He's like Klingon levels.
Could be down to like 20%.
It was 21.4% before this. Before this, he was 3 for 14. So he's now 3 for 15. He's at 20%. So he's like right down there with Klingon. His 3-point shot might be worse than Klingon's. Okay? He started off 27% his rookie year, and I remember it was like, I wasn't expecting him to be as good of a shooter as people thought coming into the league, because I feel like they're basing off Keegan. He was 34% his last year in college, and I didn't like the form. I didn't like his shooting form, and he still hasn't changed it at all. He hasn't adjusted it at all. He shoots too far in front of himself. It's too much of a two-motion shot. There's not really much fluidity. It's stiff. But even 27% his rookie year was like, damn, I didn't expect him to be this bad. He'll probably improve. Then 22.5% last year, 21.4% this year. He is the absolute definition of a non-shooter, Eric. Mm-hmm. And, okay, he's providing them some solid little things in spot minutes right now. He cannot play in a playoff series. Teams will leave him. He will be Andre Roberson in a playoff series. Maybe worse. I don't even know if Andre Roberson shot this bad. You know? And he was a great defender. He was a better defender than Chris is. So it's just the shooting. Like, he made some nice plays off the dribble. That was a nice dunk. He did some good things in this game. I still am just continuously bothered by... And the reason why I'm starting with this, he was 0 for 1 from 3, but there was a play. It was at the end of the first quarter, I believe. He got the ball with 1 second left on the clock, had a wide open 3 with no time to do anything else, and he passed it to Robert Williams in the corner for 3. That was late. He didn't even shoot the ball in that situation. And okay, maybe he didn't know the clock, but dude, like, you're passing up a wide open 3. You're supposed to be somebody that coming into the league was supposed to be capable of knocking down a 3-point shot. You're passing it up for a Robert Williams 3? That was insane to see for me. So he continues to do good things. The dunk was fun, sneaky dunk, like rebounded well, plays a good defense, man. But just the lack of ability to stretch the floor. If he could just stretch the floor, he would be completely fine. And that's the part that frustrates me so much. It's like, dude, you do all this little stuff well. You have these, drives. He's been finishing well on drives. Nice dunk, defense. The lack of shooting is just killer.
Yeah, I mean, short of the situations like you mentioned where he needs to shoot it, I do like that he's shooting less than 1.5 a game. At least he's not like most of this team and just chucking threes, even if you're not hitting them. And I do think he's doing a good job of attacking um, off the dribble. He's doing a good job of crashing the offensive glass. He's doing a pretty good job of cutting as well. It's just this is another situation that's magnified by our lack of shooting. If we had shooters all over and this was like an outlier on this team to have a player who can't shoot but does little things well other than that, it's probably fine. But like I mentioned earlier in the stream, when a lot of your minutes are with City Sissoko, and in this game, you play like probably 6 or 7 minutes with Ryan Rupert and Sissoko at the same time. It's just like it's really tough to get through that. But I thought Chris was pretty good tonight, despite the one miss from 3.
Yeah. Unathletic 6'7" non-shooters don't play in playoff series though.
Yeah.
Like maybe Jabari will this year for the Sixers, but you best believe they're going to be trying to upgrade that power forward spot. Right, and they've been starting Trendon Watford instead. And Trendon, he doesn't shoot a ton of them, but at least like Trendon's last year in Portland, he shot 39%. He played 62 games, shot 1 3 a game, but at least made 39% of them. The next year in Brooklyn, made 39% of them. This year so far in Philadelphia, in 8 games, he's shooting 1.5 threes per game in 22 minutes and making 45% of them. So for his career, he's a 35% three-point shooter. So like going in, it's like, all right, do you want to let Trendon Watford shoot? He doesn't shoot many, but he knocks down a decent clip. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get away with in a playoff series. So I like all the little things he does, but I don't want to lose sight of like these types of players aren't really conducive to playoff success. These types of players don't end up playing in the playoffs.
I mean, I guess if we get to the playoffs, then that's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, but like this is why I'm bringing it up. It's like, okay, that's our goal. Like this is where we should be looking to upgrade. I'm trying to think of like an unathletic 6'7" non-shooter that plays rotation minutes for a playoff team. I really am.
I mean, it's kind of on the spot. I have to think about it.
Chat. Do you have any examples? Chat will hopefully give us a couple of names. Replacing Chris with a shooter has to be a top priority if we want to compete in the playoffs. Absolutely, that should be a shooter. Ethan says, Batum, are you 20, 30 minutes behind in the stream? Randall is 6 foot what? And Randall can shoot. He's not a non-shooter. Randall is 6'9" and is shooting 40% from 3 this year. And last year he shot 34% from 3. So I don't view him as a non-shooter. Draymond Green. Yeah.
That's technically 6'7".
Yeah. I mean, that's the one guy, but he's an outlier in so many ways, you know what I mean? Defensively, passing. Draymond this year on 4 threes a game is shooting 44% from 3. Last year he shot 32% from 3. The year before he shot 39% from 3. So I don't even think you can call Draymond a non-shooter. He was for a bit there. He had 4 years in a row he's under 30%, but the last 3 years he's been better. But yeah, that's probably the one guy, and he's just like outlier Hall of Fame passing defender, power forward. Anthony Black. Did Anthony Black how many minutes did he play in the playoffs last year, though? Because I feel like that's a good example. But he's a good athlete. Anthony Black is a good athlete. So, like, that's a different. When you're an athlete like that, you could kind of make it work. Asar, Amen.
I know Josh Hart isn't 6'7", but what did he shoot in the playoffs last year?
Yeah. Let's see. In the playoffs last season, Josh Hart shot. I have playoff series last year. 50% his first series, 38% his second series, and then the last series was 2 for 11. So in all three of those series, can I highlight them all? Will it show it to me? So, like, if I had to guess all three of those series, he was around 40% last year. Yeah, I don't know. Well, Basketball Reference won't show me. Banchero's 6'10". And also, Banchero's not a non-shooter either. I mean, a non-shooter like somebody that you can just leave completely wide open and not worry about it. Banchero last year was 32%. I would love 32% from Chris Murray. But Banchero's 6'10". So yeah, that's where it's tough. That's where it's tough. What's the question? Oh, how many like non-athletic 6'7" guys that can't shoot, like, are basically not shooters that you can just leave open, play in playoff series? Kevin Herter. His shot's falling off a cliff, but he's not a non-shooter. Not a non-shooter. Tony Allen. We're talking about today's NBA. Jarris Walker doesn't play in the playoffs. And now he's not even playing over Jeremiah Robinson Earl. And for his career, he's a 38%er. So, yeah. Yeah, there's really no examples. Like, all the examples, I appreciate chat trying to give me examples. Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, how much did he play? Like, Jared Vanderbilt's not somebody I would want to play in a playoff series at all. But that's a close example. But, like, he's a decent athlete, too. Like, he's more athletic than Chris. Anyway. Last year he played 12 minutes a game in the playoffs.
I don't think Sohan's played in the playoffs either.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs last? I don't think they've made it since season one.
Nope, they have not. But, like, this archetype of player always gets, even when they're a main part of the roster, they get deprioritized. How much is Sohan playing this year? He's only played 4 games.
He's hurt, yeah.
But he was only playing 17 minutes a game before then.
No, I think he just came back and he's on a minutes restriction. I think, so.
Herb Jones has a year where he shot 40% from 3. I'm not. I'd take 30%. Anyway, rest of the players. Got off on a little tangent there. Let's wrap this up. Rob Will had good minutes today. That was good to see.
Yeah, he was fine. A good putback dunk. Some good lob catches.
Yeah. Looked like he was moving decently, which I like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's looked explosive finishing around the rim, which is fun because we're not used to that. Even when we had somebody that's like athletic and Ayton, he was never finishing like Rob Will has the past couple of games where he has just explosive dunks underneath the rim, and then, Nurkic was never doing that. Klingen's not doing that, so it's fun aspect to have. City Sissoko played 17 minutes, 2 points, 1 for 2 from the field. I don't even remember his one bucket. What was his bucket? Do you remember? City Sissoko bucket? Chat will remind
Thought he
us.
had one in like the middle of the paint on like a kind of fast breakish.
A layup. Yeah. Amen Thompson. I said an unathletic 6'7" guy that can't shoot. He is the opposite of unathletic. He might be the best athlete in the league. Oh, the goaltend. That's why I don't remember it. It was the goaltend. Gotcha. And that's pretty much it. You had spot minutes from Repair today. Dude, I don't know if I've ever seen a player get consistently blocked where it looks like he's like a high school player. Yeah.
I thought he had some nice minutes on defense,
Yeah.
but offense was rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
He's an NBA level defender. He's not even close to NBA level offensively. Not even close. But that's like that just needs to be a shooter, Eric. Like so that we could have shooter Sissoko Chris Murray combinations instead of repair Sissoko Chris Murray combinations where it's like you don't want any of these guys touching the ball. So you're relying upon Denny to do literally everything. The thing is when they had that lineup in, I thought New Orleans was given too much respect to like Chris Murray behind the arc and Sissoko behind the arc, and the Blazers were actually able to work with a little bit of space. I feel like if they knew who they were guarding and they were defending smart, it would have just been like, yeah, we're going to leave all three of these guys. We're going to have 4 people in the paint waiting for Denny Avdia at all times. Good luck. So I thought the Blazers kind of got away with that. That's it from this game. Let's go around the NBA real quick. It's been a couple streams since we've done that. Also, we'll get back on track with event nights and stuff. I just have to plan stuff for that. So we've kind of let those go by the wayside for now, but I'm not planning on abandoning them. Just very, very busy and working very, very hard. But yeah, so Hornets beat the Bucks 111-100. You know what I can do? You know what I can do? There we go. All right. Beautiful scenes, although it's not centered. Can we do? There we go. All right. Hornets beat the Bucks 111-100. Hornets now 4-7 on the season. Bucks 7-5. The Bucks were without Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they played Thanasis because they have him again. 25 points for Ryan Rollins, who continues to break out. He's the most improved front runner along with Denny Avdia.
And Giddey.
And Josh Giddey. Yeah, that's the other guy. Giddey, Ryan Rollins, Avdia. I think are the top 3 for most improved right now. For the Hornets, Ryan Kalkbrenner was 8 for 8, 17 points. It's always cool when I can put rookies' names in the bottom ticker. They started 3 rookies today and got the win. Kalkbrenner, Con Knippel, and Sion James, who didn't really do much in this game, but he's had some good moments this year. I feel like I crushed it with my scouting this past year, which I'm happy about, and I'm excited to start scouting this year's draft class. We'll have big words coming up soon, but Hornets get the win. We had the Pistons beat the Bulls. The Pistons are 10-2. Are the Pistons this year's Cavs, Eric? Because they're 10-2. They're 10-2. The Cavs don't look as good. The Pistons might be the 1 seed this year.
Oh, Duran's the other one that will
Yeah.
get most improved player votes too.
But Duran didn't play today.
Yeah, Duran didn't play. Did Cade end up playing?
Cade didn't play today. Look at this box score. 28 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 11 for 30 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3 for Paul freaking Reed.
Your boy getting it done.
God damn. Just saying. 23 points from Duncan Robinson, 7 for 10 from the field.
Hey, 7 of 10 from 3. Nice. Must be nice to have a shooter.
Yup. That would be amazing. Dennis Jenkins, 18 points, 12 assists. He's been having some good games.
Yeah, he's getting some minutes.
They even got Wendell Moore Jr. some run here. Wendell Moore Jr. They just signed
They
him.
just signed him? Yeah.
Yep. He had a bucket. Karis LeVert off the bench, 17 points. Didn't I get Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert in our mock off season? But also I got Jamal Murray. I forget who I traded for him.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but I'd like to take credit for this 10-2 start. Just kidding. For the Bulls, 21 points, 14 rebounds from Matas Buzelis. He's been great this year. Kevin Huerter, 10 for 17 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. I see why he was inserted into the non-shooter conversation. This is weird that he had a great offensive game and didn't make a 3. As the Pistons now 10-2. What's the Bulls' record now? The Bulls 6-5. They're falling back to earth after a hot start. The Magic beat the Knicks 124-107. They're 6-6. Maybe the Bane buzzer beater set them straight. They had 28 from Franz. Paulo Banchero only played 12 minutes. I don't know if he got hurt. Desmond Bane, 22 points, 8 assists. It looks like he's breaking out of that slump. Anthony Black off the bench, who Chat just called a non-shooter, was 3 for 5 from 3 today with 17 points, 3 boards, 3 assists.
Noah Penda got in the game.
Yeah, Noah Penda minutes, number 93. Played a couple, I assume, garbage time minutes there. Cat, 15 points. Jalen Brunson, 31 points. Shamet, 11 points off the bench. It's weird that they're playing Shamet ahead of McBride. But Mike Brown's the coach now, and he didn't like Keon Ellis, so of course he doesn't like Miles McBride for some reason.
Well, Doug Christie doesn't like Keon Ellis either.
Yeah, I would like Keon Ellis until Tiago doesn't like Keon Ellis and is playing Chris Murray ahead of him. The Celtics beat the Grizzlies 131-95. The Grizzlies, I think, are going to be tanking this year. The Grizzlies are a mess. Jaren Jackson Jr. looks a little washed, especially defensively right now. He had 18 points in the losing effort for the Celtics, who are now 6-7. And 6 points, 7 assists off the bench. He's starting to rack up higher assist games now all of a sudden, after being really score-only to start his Boston tenure. Peyton Pritchard, though, 24 points, 9 assists, 6 boards, 8 for 15 from the field for the West Lynn product. Cavs get revenge on the Heat after losing off that. Did you see that wild buzzer beater from Andrew Wiggins where nobody guarded him?
Yeah.
That was a crazy night in the NBA. I wish I could have enjoyed it, but I was too salty about the Bane buzzer beater. But Donovan Mitchell hit a insane 3 to tie it with 0.4 seconds left, and then the Cavs literally didn't guard Andrew Wiggins, and he had a backdoor lob, and there was nobody within 10 feet of him, and it was just the easiest game-winning buzzer beater off an inbounds pass ever. But the Cavs got their revenge today, and they didn't play Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland or Evan Mobley. So some weird box scores today. They had 30 points and 10 rebounds from Jared Allen, 21 from DeAndre Hunter, 15 from Lonzo Ball, 19 from Craig Porter Jr., and Tyrese Proctor got 15 shots up in 23 minutes. He had 12 points. He was 4 for 15. For the Heat, 27 from Norm. Of course, after going off for however many points Jovic did against us tonight, 22 minutes, 2 points.
Marv says Banchero had a groin pull.
Got you. Thanks for the insight, Marv. Appreciate you. I saw somebody on Twitter, some Heat fan, talking crap to Blazer fans for not trading Dame for Jovic, saying Jovic in 3 years is going to be Jokic level. I don't know about that one. But the Cavs get the win.
Well, if he plays the Blazers.
Well, yeah. True. Because Calabro will call him Nikola Jokic. You got the Rockets beating the Wizards 135-112. Wizards now 111. But Alex Sarr continues to play great, which is awesome to see, man. Because I was really high on him. We were both really high on him in that draft. 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. It seems like everything's starting to come together for him, which is cool to see. How has Shea been doing lately? Because he had a lot of preseason hype, but I haven't really paid attention to him. Well, we do have the Hawks box score down there. I can check in.
The Rockets are our next opponent.
Yep. Rockets next game. NBA Cup game. Would be awesome to be 2-0 in the Cup and start to feel like maybe we could win the group of death. That'd be cool. The Warriors beat the Spurs 125-120. Steph Curry, 46 points, 5 assists. 13 for 25 from the field, 5 for 6 from 3 for Steph. Phenomenal game. Jimmy Butler had 28 points. With both those guys are going, that team is really good. The Spurs, led by Wemby's 31, 15, and 10. Almost a quadruple double with turnovers. Stephon Castle had 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. So 2 triple doubles in a losing effort for the Spurs. It's impressive. They're now 8-3 on the season. The Suns are 7-5, Eric. Is that like what, a 6-game winning streak? They're rattling off wins, although they've had a easier schedule, it seems. 26 from Book, 23 from Grayson Allen, who's playing some good basketball right now. The Blazers will play the Suns here in the next week. First NBC game of the year. And then the Mavs, Cooper Flagg had 16 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. Brandon Williams, former Blazer, 17 points. 9 assists. The Mavs are in tank mode, they're going to get a star prospect and probably trade AD and blow it all up now that they fired Nico Harrison. We're going to have the conversation about trading for Anthony Davis.
Yep.
But we will table that conversation for now. Mavs 3-9. The Thunder are unbeatable except against us. It's kind of cool that, see them 12-1 and just be like, we are that one. Right there. That one right there. I highlighted it. We're that one. SGA, 30 points, 9 assists. The Lakers just could not get going in this game. 19 points from Luka. Austin Reeves coming down to earth a little bit. 13 points for him. And look at that dominating stat line. Minus 18 in 26 minutes, which is better than the rest of the starters. 6 points, 5 boards. 3 for 5 from the field. Rough game for the Lakers. And then all these games are final. Keon Ellis finally played. It only took a 33-point loss, but look at that. 31 minutes, 20 points, 6 for 11 from 3. That would be real nice on our team. The Hawks get the win, 24-10-8 from Jalen Johnson. They're playing without Trae Young, who's injured right now, but they're still 7-5, which is maybe a good sign. I asked how Risache was doing. He had 15 points in 22 minutes.
On 8 shots, that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. On the season, 12 points, 2 boards, 1 assist, 43% from the field. Alex Sarr's better than him, at least this year, and that's what I felt like going into their draft. So, validation. For the Kings, they started Precious Achua with Sabonis, Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, and Dennis Schroeder. Is Dennis Schroeder the best shooter in that lineup?
Not this year. But maybe.
Yeah. He shoot 28% of the regular season. Russell Westbrook might be the best shooter in that lineup. That is a disgusting lineup. Yeah, that is straight gross, man. DeRozan. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just have to say this. I heard that the Kings were looking to move on from a bunch of their players, and including Levine. And I just want to say once again how stupid it was to trade Fox for a package that was you were trying to maintain some sort of winning team instead of just rebuilding. If you're going to trade Fox, I get it that you went through, 16 straight years of not making the playoffs and had multiple lottery picks fail on you. But I think they only got 1 pick back in that deal because they wanted win now players. And that was just stupid to do. And then to reverse course a few months later, or less than a year later, and now think you're going to go into a rebuild, that's just pretty dumb.
They need to rebuild, though.
Decision making. They definitely need to, but the time was to start doing it at the trade deadline last year.
Fully agree. Zach LaVine apparently has no value, which made me think of the question: are we happy if Sharp just becomes Zach LaVine 2.0?
I mean, Levine's been a pretty good player. If he didn't have the knee injuries, I think might be talking about him a little differently. But
like Zach LaVine right now, who has like no trade value.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think that's like an interesting.
I think his stats are pretty decent this year. But...
yeah, but he's like one of those guys where like stats are decent, but no team really values his ability to contribute to winning. So that's and he's athletic, shot maker.
It's because he makes like $40 million a year. I think.
Yeah.
I think if he made 20 to 25, I think it'd be a lot different.
Yeah, I wonder if people would be happy with that outcome for Sharp or not. I don't know how I feel about that. Just that.
If he was on Sharp's contract, his contract extension, I mean, I think he would have a lot of value.
Yeah. Yeah.
22.5 a year average.
I just don't want. I want him to be viewed as like more contributory towards winning. I don't know if contributory is a word, but contribute more to winning. Because that's kind of the thing with LaVine is a lot of people feel like, oh, he's just not somebody that's really going to help you win games. He'll score the ball a bit, but that's it. Defense is rough. Like,
To be fair to Levine, he hasn't really had the greatest teams.
yeah, how much of that is him? How much of that is the teams? You know, probably a little bit of both. I'm not interested in Levine, even though his scoring punch could be useful just because of that contract. Like, we're the type of team that could make a lot of sense for Zach LaVine, I guess, but I don't know. I don't really like him at the 3, and we have a lot of guards, so I don't know. I'm not interested in any other players outside of Keon Ellis, Devin Carter, Nick Clifford, and Maxime Reynaud.
I don't think they're trading either of those two.
Yeah, that's the team they'd rebuild with, except for maybe Keon Ellis. And then the final game of the day, the Nuggets beat the Clippers. The Clippers are in free fall, which is bad because the Thunder have their freaking pick. This is bad, Eric. That's looking like a really bad loss. We lost to them. We're like, it's a playoff caliber team. They're 3-8. They're 3-8. Now, they didn't have Kawhi in this game, but they're just not good. Jordan Miller had 22 points. They still gave up 130. Nikola Jokic had 55, 12 and 6, 18 for 23 from the field. Hey man, Nikola Jokic is going to be doing that in 3 years. All right.
Well, I heard he had 25 in the first quarter.
That's insane. When he just decides to score, man. Because Zubac is a good defensive center. There's just nights where it feels like Jokic is like, yeah, I'm gonna score a bunch of points tonight.
Well, that's what in the game against us, didn't he only shoot 10 times or something?
Yeah.
And it seemed like we had no way to stop him, and he just didn't want to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like, some nights he just decides to score. Some nights he's like, I don't really want to shoot. Here are the standings. Portland is tied for 8th with Golden State. They have a slightly higher win percentage. We're behind Phoenix. Utah's in 10th. We are 3 games up on 11th. That's cool, right? Like, safely tucked in here in the play-in. We're only 1.5 games out of 4th. And that's the team we play next? Listen, you can beat Houston. That'd be a good win to get us right back there. You know, it's never too early to standings watch when we're actually in this group, because the last 2 years we've never, I can't remember once talking about a 8th place Portland Trailblazer team. So, you know, that's good. We're average right now. And we have a win differential, or a point differential, that's in green. That's cool. It's a cool color. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this top 6 as like the clear-cut top 6. I thought Golden State would be better, but they're really, really old. So I could see them struggling to get out of the play-in. I could see them as maybe a team Portland could be better than. Same with Phoenix. Like, I feel like the ceiling on regular season seeding is 7th. Like, if they pass the Suns. I don't really see them being able to be better than Minnesota, the Lakers with how good they've been playing, Rockets, Spurs, Nuggets, and Thunder. But of course, it's still very early. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, a lot still could play out, but
like barring major injuries or, you know, the Lakers
I still think
hire
the
Nico
Clippers could get it
Harrison.
together. Yeah.
I
still think the Clippers could get it together, and I do think the Warriors could.
Yeah, they could. They could
the
definitely
same.
pass us. But I think in terms of like realistic ceiling, we'd be above those teams in a realistic good case scenario. I think it'd be tough to put them above any of these top 6. I hope the Clippers are better. I do not want OKC to get a top 3 pick. Anyway.
I don't think we read off any of these donations or member messages.
Oops. I don't have them. Do you have them?
We have Brandon Lee, member for 2 months, says, would you make a trade offer for AD if the price is right?
We'll talk about that in an upcoming stream.
Yeah.
Our streams are running them long with how much we're talking about games right now, and we're forgetting to read off your messages, so I apologize.
Mubsy had a Canadian $20
Shout out to
message.
Mubsy, man. We got to fix his intro song where it will play right.
W game.
Let's
Gotta
go.
love Sharp O Canada.
Yep.
And then Tristan with a $2 message says Reith and Klingon would thrive with each other. They played a little bit together tonight.
Yeah, those lineups have been.
We're playing the
pretty decent.
zone with those two on the bottom. Wasn't too bad.
Our defense is so elite. We got to play a lot of zone now.
Yeah, that's also. Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to get in the zone with Sleeper and use promo code Uprise. 100% match up to $100 free $20 entry. If you're in the zone, get in the zone. That's not their slogan. That's my slogan. But get in the zone with Sleeper. I think if you think Sharp's turning a corner, his over-under is probably still pretty low in terms of points, and now he's playing more minutes. That's probably an easy over smash. And then the over on Denny hits literally every game. You could literally take that free $20 parlay. That free $20 entry, no deposit required. You could literally just do over points on, I believe, Sharp and then Denny, and then I think you need to pick a game from a different team. So, just combine that with something you feel more confident in. You could maybe get like 8x odds on that. That could be $140 in your pocket if you win. Like, why not take advantage of that? That's a great offer.
Sharp's up to 21 points per game, by the way.
That's cool. It's a cool number. Yeah, so no reason for you guys not to just take advantage of the free $20 entry and see what you can do there. Because I think for some of these Blazers lines that I've seen on there, it's pretty easy picks. It's not guaranteed. Nothing's ever guaranteed. But, it's relatively easy to pick the over or under for certain guys. So now if you pick the over for Jeremy Points tonight, then that would have been a brutal way to lose a parlay with him getting ejected. So you never know, but that's why you should check out Sleeper. Use the code Uprise. I heard it's through AutoZone. No. Yeah, get in the zone, AutoZone. That's what I was thinking of when I was saying it. Like, that's not their slogan. That's AutoZone's slogan. And also, shout out to AutoZone. Anything else, Eric?
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Got next game, Cup game on Friday. Would be very nice to get that one. Kind of make up for our prior two losses.
There are so many early times in November. It's kind of driving me crazy. But the Blazers got Rockets up next, the Mavericks, Suns, Bulls, and then at Golden State. I will be at that Golden State game at Golden State. So, yeah. The following Sunday and Monday, we're going to have to figure out how to get you to run the stream because I am road tripping, all right? I'm driving down to California, leaving Thursday, the 20th, and, going to a road game. That's the third NBA Cup game. So hopefully the Blazers can win on Friday to be 2-0 in the NBA Cup, and then I can show up. And, we'll see if Blazers Broadcasting wants to put me on the TV. That'd be cool. But, yeah. I'm cool. I'm excited to see their stadium.
Yeah, should be fun for you.
I've never been to an away game. And then I'm going to go to that Niners Monday Night Football game against the Panthers. So at least I get something to enjoy this year football-wise, Eric.
Why would they put the Panthers on Monday night?
I mean, they're 5-5. A lot of teams get a primetime game,
Yeah.
I mean, the Panthers might win.
It's a Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. Panthers are better than the Ravens, which is crazy. But, yeah, so I'm going to go to my first Niners home game and my first NBA road game. So going to actually experience some things, which is cool.
Nice.
Streaming from the hotel room, that's the plan. I want to stay at a hotel that's within walking distance and then walk back to the hotel and then do the post-game stream. I think that would be pretty fun to do. But then, yeah, Sunday and Monday, maybe see what Rich is up to.
Yeah. I got you covered either way.
Yeah. Friday, that's also supposed to be a shot night, so maybe I, take some shots in the hotel, you know? Maybe I drink a little bit at the Warriors game, because then I can walk back to the hotel. Yeah, we're gonna make a night of it. A night of it. But yeah, we'll start sticking with the event nights. I think starting the 16th. I know I want to do a watch party for next game. I just been a little burnt out, so we'll finally have our members night on the 16th, and then we'll stick to the schedule we have on Discord is the plan. So anyway, anything else? I think I asked you that already.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Yep. See you later. Blazers win. They beat the Pelicans. Thank goodness they beat the freaking lowly Pelicans. We used to be that team. Now we're this team that wins these games, even though we made it look iffy at the end there. The Blazers 6-5. We'll see if they can build upon that. Very important game coming up against Houston. Blazers 1.5 games behind them for the 4th seed, and it's an NBA Cup game, so this is going to be one of the games of the year. Hopefully it's one of the post-game streams of the year, because that would mean a Blazer dub. Anyway, we're out of here. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you again Friday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!